Wolfpack, what's going on? It's your boy, the Wolf of Roto Street. RotoStreetJournal.com. We breed and feed you fantasy wolves here with your week 2 sit start show. I already see like 15 questions in the mailbag. You love to wake up to it. You love to see it. The folk are here to get their answers, and that is what we are here to do, is make sure those lineups are perfect. We had a solid week 1. Telling a lot of people, let's bench Joe Burrow. Maybe you got to have Jamar Chase on the bench, and it certainly worked out, at least in the Burrow sense, for week 1. So we are here to get it right for you again this week. As always, I'm going to start with a handful of Thursday Night Football takeaways. So you can, what do we learn? What do we need to take away from this? Might toss out a handful of stashes and streamers for you guys to have in your lineups. Hit the news. And then, of course, in an hour and a half, 2 hours dedicated, though, to your questions. So come on in, get that coffee poured. I'm like 3 cups deep already. I can't wait, though. I love this early morning slot. It's a good way to wake up, get the juices flowing, get the fantasy mind kind of warmed up and melted. And I love it. Let's do it, Wolfpack here. So let's dive into my biggest takeaways. Get those questions on in, guys. And as you're getting in here, it does truly help us out. The early thumbs up, the early likes, shares, and retweets do so much to help us with the algorithm, boosting it on up. So if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up button, and if you're new here, hitting that sub, you want to join in for future streams, we'd love to have you. Thanks again so much for being here, though. It really means a lot to spend your Sunday mornings here with me. Well, those 5 Thursday Night Football takeaways, you got to start, unfortunately, at the top with Tua's injury. He was ruled out with a concussion, obviously his 3rd now in the last 2 years. We know he has a long history of this, and it non-football wise, non-fantasy wise, you got to have your prayers up for this guy. You got to hope he's okay. And is he going to step away? You don't really know where this one goes. I know Mike McDaniel said your football is by far second to your family. We'll see how it goes here. Ultimately, though, you just worry about the guy's long-term health. You hope he just, I don't know. I'm not here to give advice on it, but however the doctors deem it questionable, I want the best for Tua in his life. And it is within the realm of possibilities he just steps away for the season, if not for the good. So keep that in mind here. In his absence, because you do have to hit the fantasy implications, obviously, is Skylar Thompson is now the starter. He came on in, did not look overly pretty here, completing 8 of his 14 passes. And none of them were overly difficult, overly flashy. Nothing looked great in that sense. 80 yards for Skylar Thompson when he came in. And just looking at the splits here, what has Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle done with Skylar Thompson at QB? He made 3 starts in 2022 when Tua was knocked out. Tyreek Hill, he was targeted on 30% of the routes. That's not bad at all. But he ultimately racked up just 139 yards, and he averaged 11.2 per game. That was a 5-catch, 46-yard, 3-game average for Tyreek Hill. No touchdowns, despite seeing 9 targets a game. Volume was healthy. Unfortunately, the production was not. Jalen Waddle was impacted even worse. 5.3 targets, 3.7 catches, 37 yards, and 0 touchdowns per game in those 3 full games. Maybe Skylar Thompson's taken a big step forward. He somehow beat Mike White, who I would much rather see back there as the backup quarterback in training camp in preseason. So apparently they felt good about it. Oh, man, what I would do to see Jameis Winston get traded there, or any of these big backups, even Andy Dalton, somebody of some competence, Joe Flacco. I can't imagine these teams go and give up a great backup quarterback here. But it makes you wonder, what were the Dolphins thinking? You knew that this guy was at least one big shot away from potentially being lost for the season. How did you not have a better backup plan in place? So that is too bad to see. And it is worth noting just how much those guys do drop off with Skylar Thompson. It's just a matter of how long are we going to have to deal with Skylar Thompson? Is Tua coming back? These are things we don't have the answers to. But if you have those 2 guys, you got to be, unfortunately, down a little bit. Now, I imagine the offense, if we're going to get any positives here, Devon Achane becomes the centerpiece of this team. He was the centerpiece on Thursday Night Football with Mostert out. 22 carries, 96 yards, 7 catches for another 69 yards and a score through the air. Nearly 30 PPR fantasy points for this guy. You streamed on Thursday. You joined us. And not that this was overly bold, but we said there's no way you can ever bench Devon Achane. I think there was one question somebody asked Achane or Cook, and I did go Achane, and Cook might be like the only guy that outscores him this week. But you still can't be that mad again when you had like 26 fantasy points, depending on your scoring settings, from Devon Achane. He played 62% of the snaps, 71% of the carries, 19% of the targets, 47% of the routes, was a bona fide workhorse. Those 29 touches were a career high. If this workload continues, he is going to be one of the, it should have been like a top 7 overall pick, in my opinion, at this point. Not just top 7 running backs, again, top 7 overall. We were definitely high on this guy, and it is great to see that he is continuing to thrive. I see Stephen Drake, you just hit us with a blessing $5 super chat. So I am going to wrap up these takeaways just real quick, if you don't mind, Stephen. I know you typically stick around for the show. I just have a couple more here. James Cook, being the goal line back, is one of them. 11 carries, 78 yards, 2 scores. You look at his career, 19 games, 265 carries, 2 rushing touchdowns. And then tonight, 5 carries, 2 rushing touchdowns to start the game. Beautiful to see. He does getting those goal line plunges there, not getting subbed out for Ray Davis. That unlocks a whole new ceiling. I get that Josh Allen is the ultimate goal line vulture. It isn't going to always go to James Cook, but to know he's not getting subbed out there, at least as of right now, is huge for his potential fantasy value. He ultimately scored also on a 17-yard touchdown, so also a 3-touchdown day on just 12 touches. Great to see from James Cook. And in week 1, we noted like he looked faster than he looked as a rookie, just bursting down the steam. It seemed like his ceiling might be a little capped despite popping so much on the tape. But to know that he's going to get some goal line volume is unlocking a whole new beast here for James Cook. So if you have him, you got to feel good when that next rest of rankings big board comes out tomorrow night. He's going to be getting a big bump up. Khalil Shakir is also one of my last takeaways here. Seems to be separating as the Bills wide receiver 1. Just a 5-catch, 54-yard day, but 5 targets led the team, 26% target share, 39% of the yards they threw for did go to Khalil Shakir. Now, behind him, Dalton Kincaid. Again, nobody's going to want me to say anything positive about this guy. If you own him, it hurts. 4 catches, 33 yards on 4 targets. I will just point out that, the first drive, he was getting peppered with looks, took a knee to the head, and ultimately had to get taken out. And by the time he came back, he was okay, deemed ready to return. They were already up by like 28 points. They had no reason to continue to throw. So better to see than, of course, that 1 for 11 in week 1. Still not what you were hoping for if you took this guy in the round 5-6 range here. But I was more encouraged than not. And I'm guessing that his owners are ready to just cut the guy, never mind trade him for anything meaningful. So if you can pluck him for like a low-end wide receiver 4 or something of that nature, I still think there's much better days ahead. I think his owners are hanging from a cliff here. And then Keon Coleman did not catch the ball at all. So ultimately, no targets, no catches. 1 target. Oh, yay. And then Curtis Samuel also 1 catch for 3 yards. So that's why, again, I think Khalil Shakir seems to really be separating the move the chain guy, the trust throws from Josh Allen. Great to see from him. And the last takeaway I wanted to say is Jonnu Smith back. He had a nice night. 6 catches, 53 yards, 7 targets. But again, can you trust anybody in this Skylar Thompson-led attack? Probably not. So ultimately, no real boost here for Jonnu Smith until we get some news on what this Tua injury is, how long it's going to take. We know what it is. It's a concussion. Is it going to be season-ending? Is it going to be an IR stint? Who knows how long this is going to take there. But that's, of course, the biggest impact. But some positive notes on, again, Devon Achane and James Cook in this game as well. We did get that super chat. Steven, thank you so much for supporting your boys. If any of you need to get in and out, you get to jump the line. I'll pause anything else I'm doing week 2 news. Any other questions, make sure to give you a nice full-depth answer here. We really greatly appreciate any super chats. They do go such a long way. Of course, we're going to get to all your questions, so continue to get through there. But if you want to cut the line, or typically get to all the questions, there have been some. Last week we had 200. We still were able to mow through it. There have been some weeks where we got like 300, 400 questions, and then it ends up being too much. But hopefully we can get to them all this morning. Let's see here. Good morning. Need 2 in a flex for Stephen Drakes. Mason Charbonnet, Jerome Ford, and Nico, half PPR. Awesome question here, Steven. Awesome team that you have to bench one of these 4 really solid players. To me, the easy locks in are Mason. He's my running back 4 for the week. We're going to talk about him in news in a second. But Christian McCaffrey goes to the IR. With him out, Mason had every single running back opportunity for the 49ers last week. 22 fantasy points, 26 opportunities. It was he just looked like a steamroller. I mean, I saw somebody tweet out, like, this guy would have ran for 2,000 yards with the 1995 Broncos. He was just a perfect fit for the zone blocking scheme. One of our friends of the show, Grant Cohen, has always loved and sung the praises of Jordan Mason. Just said he really needed a shot to show he could be a guy in this league. And he got a shot, and man, did he flash last week. Easy, lock him in. That's the makings of a league winner right now. And will it last? Who knows? I don't know how long this thing's going to linger for CMC. As a CMC owner, I am dead. I hate this. It terrifies me. Achilles tendonitis. That's something that could linger. At the end of the day, don't mind like the IR stint for him. And we'll get to this, Steve Jakes. I'll cover that in just a second. The CMC takeaways. Either way, you have yourself a league winner for right now. You does not go to the bench is the big takeaway with Jordan Mason. He's locked into your lineup. Nico Collins, always locked in your lineups. Never consider benching Nico Collins. He is an absolute stud in this league. So it comes down to Charbonnet versus Jerome Ford. And I really like both these guys this week. Charbonnet, as we'll cover in a little more detail in a second with Ken Walker. Doubtful, unlikely to play. Likely to be the feature back, according to Ryan Grubb. He was solid in his starts last year. Why don't we just kind of cover this news right now for you as part of your answer here, Steven? 12.9, 9.8, and 16.9 PPR points across his 3 starts last year. Did have right around 80% of the snaps in those games. Solid, not spectacular, but ultimately was like a mid-range running back 2. Running back 18, running back 29, and running back 13 in terms of what his fantasy ranking was in those weeks. Grubb did say, I think that Charb has a lot of the same skill sets as Walker. Excellent receiver out of the backfield. Very, very capable pass protector. Very powerful runner. I don't think anything in the game plan changes if Ken's unavailable. To me, sounds like a workhorse treatment. I'm a big fan of that. That being said, we just saw Jerome Ford play 75% of the rushing workload and receiving workload. Actually, and notably, got all the inside the 10 snaps. That's where I thought Donta Foreman might become a vulture, something annoying in that sense, but he didn't. And I like that matchup quite a bit more against the Jags. They improved their deep front, but a little less scary to me than the Patriots at this point. That game just feels ugly. So I do lean Ford very slightly over Charbonnet. They're both right in that like running back 20 to 24 range for me. I like them both, but push comes to shove. I do like Jerome Ford. I am going to be monitoring, though, the offensive line injuries there in Cleveland because they might be without both starting tackles and Bitonio. As a guard, that line might just end up being ultimate garbage. So I do think there's a little more safety to Charbonnet today. But I just love what I saw out of Ford, and I love that he was getting those goal line touches there. The receiving workload was healthy. So I think I'm leaning Ford here. That's where it gets tough, and that's probably where you wanted the real clarity is between those two. And I can't offer a huge amount of clarity there. Oh, man. I don't know, though. Like, part of me is just, like, the workhorse for Charbonnet. And in those games where he was, like, good but not great, it was against, like, the 49ers, the Cowboys, some of the top defenses in the league here. So I don't want to overly hang that on him. And I was really impressed with that blocking scheme. Didn't love the passing attack by Ryan Grubb, but I did love what I saw out of the run game. We saw how stubbornly he leaned upon it in terms of giving 33 runs compared to 25 passes and 21st pass rate over expectation, minus 5.6%. I'm switching my answer. I'm going to go Zach Charbonnet here, Stephen Drakes. I go back and forth here, but I'm going to lock it in. Mason, Nico, Charbonnet is where I'm leaning, brother. Thank you again so much for the super chat, for your support of your boy here. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. We're going to now cover the Week 2 news. There is a fair amount for Week 2 here, but it's not as nearly heavy. So within about 10 minutes or so, we should be right to your questions here. So thank you again so much, guys. And as I said at the top of the show early on here, if we get some thumbs up buttons, it really does help us get out to more people. The likes, the shares, the retweets, it goes such a long way. We had over 1,000 people with us live last week. Over almost 300 of you already here with us. We love to see it. Thank you again so much for spending your morning here. Any likes, shares, and retweets do continue to help us grow for this. But let's quickly hit the Week 2 news. At quarterback, Jordan Love is questionable. He's downgraded to out as of last night. So good to know, though, that he was making it this deep into the week. Maybe it is going to be only a 1 to 2 week injury. In the meantime, though, Malik Willis at quarterback. I know it's very hard to bench a guy like Jaden Reed coming off a 33-point day. The other receivers, you're probably not even asking about bench them. Malik Willis has never had more than 100 yards in a single NFL game. And it's multiple times, too. It's bad. It's really bad. I don't know how they don't have a better backup situation. Maybe there is just such few. But again, like Flacco was lingering for so long. Andy Dalton could probably have been had. I don't know. It just seems like you could have set yourself up better than this. So ultimately, if I can bench Jaden Reed, I will. If anyone's going to succeed, they're probably going to be designing a lot of quick hits for him. And we saw what he can do after the catch. He's electric. He was coming in questionable himself. He is going to play. Still, though, let me know what your other options are, because if I can bench Jaden Reed, I would like to. And either way, I am firing up the Colts defense. They're a top 6 unit for me. They're still out there in 35% of leagues. It's a no-brainer play for me. If you have the Chargers against the Panthers, there are 5 defenses I do have ahead of them. Obviously, like the Cowboys, those elite defenses, yeah, sure. But if you're scrambling, you're streaming most weeks. Like I dropped the Bears, who had 24 points last week. I dropped them for the Colts in my league because they're facing the Texans. And as good as that Bears defense was against the Titans, the Texans are a whole different beast. Play that churn game, baby, when you're streaming defenses. The only other quarterback note I have is that Russell Wilson, questionable. Even if he plays, it is going to be a start for Justin Fields, and the rumblings are that should he get another win under his belt, they're probably going to keep riding the hot hand, which is great for fantasy. I know Fields didn't truly pan out quite last week, but you go back to midseason 2 years ago, he has averaged only fewer than Patrick Mahomes in fantasy points per game. He had 10 carries last week, 9 designed runs, and last week was the outlier. Anytime he's carried the ball 10 or more times, he's scored over 23 fantasy points on average. So last week was the outlier. I'm not saying start Justin Fields this week, but at TFS at 5,400, it's pretty tempting. And I'm certainly going to have some lineups out there with him. And if you're desperate for a streamer or 2 quarterback leagues, the weakness of this Broncos team is you can just run up and down their throats. They are one of the worst run Ds in the league. And I imagine, and maybe it's Najee Harris who comes through for a big day, 22 carries to just 4 total touches for Jaylen Warren last week. Ultimately, I do think Justin Fields, though, is going to rip off some massive gains here. And it might be like 100 yards passing, no touchdowns, but then you see like 102 touchdowns on the ground, and he ultimately gets you to 22 to 25 fantasy points. Wouldn't shock me at all this week. Either way, it's just more exciting than Russell freaking Wilson. Moving on to running backs, and this is what we kind of talked about with you, Stephen Drakes. Good Lord, Christian McCaffrey goes to the IR, not playing, of course, this week, not playing for the next 4 weeks now. As a CMC owner in 2 leagues, I just traded for him in 1 league too, right before this news broke. I just hate the 49ers, like injury reporting right now. What is going on? Such a lack of clarity. All systems go. He's going to be good for week 1 in the summer. Again, you can't fall. Yes, it's my fault. It's a 28-year-old running back who's coming off huge workloads that had a little bit of a calf thing going on. All it seemed like was a little bit of a calf thing, though. I figured he was all systems go. It was just kind of light practicing. Sadly, not the case. So ultimately, one of the more painful points. Hopefully, you just have Jordan Mason. It's an easy swap in, and it's not like you're getting Christian McCaffrey, the guy you paid round 1 price for. But again, he delivered huge last week with 22 fantasy points. That was with Debo vulturing a touchdown, too. He had a huge day. So if you have him, you handcuffed him, great. If you didn't get your handcuff like me, you're just swimming in the weeds, well, that sucks. It's not a fun feeling at all. But ultimately, again, it's not going to guarantee that this fixes the calf, but I'd rather this get him 4 weeks. He knows he's resting. He can rehab it as hard as possible, not worrying about practicing, not worrying about game planning. Get himself fully healthy and be back in 4 weeks. It's more important to have him for your stretch runs. It's more important for them to have him for the stretch runs in real life, too, for the 49ers. It's going to suck. It's going to be hard. You're going to have to fill the gap if you don't have Jordan Mason. I put Jeff Wilson in my lineup, and that was just an abysmal play on Thursday. It hurts. It's just a kick to the balls. There's no way around it. You're going to have to scrap. You're going to hope to go, 500, 2-2, maybe 3-1 if you got some really good depth there. Jordan Mason, you're locked in 4-0. You can keep going. But this is going to get ugly. So let us know if you have running back questions. If your depth's not great, you got to just figure out like who to plug in. There's not a ton of that on the waiver wire, unfortunately, but we can sift through. We can help you get through the weeds. Devin Singletary's next man up for me right now. I don't love it, but it's a workhorse. So, we'll see how that goes. But ultimately, it sucks. And mentioned too, Jordan Mason, though, running back 4 for the week. If you have a question on him, let me know. But to me, you're playing him. It's a real no-brainer, in my opinion. 28 carries, 147 yards, and a touchdown, and just looking damn good doing it. 81% of the snaps, 78% of the total looks at every single running back touch in that backfield. Only Debo, the only other guy getting a carry in that game. It is also a bump up for Debo, who I think could go nuts. I listened to one of the only podcasts I do love to listen to is the Fantasy Points guys, and they talked about how no team plays too high coverage more than the Vikings, and ultimately Debo, no receiver, has destroyed too high coverage. Quite like Debo, it makes sense when you get the ball into his hands and let him just knife through the defense. That's what a too high kind of allows, is like keep everything in front of you. but you can't really keep Debo. He gets the ball and you try to keep him in front of you, and nobody's more dangerous with the ball in his hand. So I love Debo today. I love Jordan Mason today. 5,200 for Mason on DraftKings is going to be the chalk, and I'm going to just eat it. Ultimately, Debo at 6,800 I think is a phenomenal play as well. And obviously, you're playing Debo Samuel in your leagues. We mentioned this with our Stephen Drake question, but Kenneth Walker is trending towards out. He was listed as doubtful. I don't expect him out there. I don't think anybody does. And so Charbonnet, he had 12.1 last week filling in. He had that nice touchdown on a reception. In his games as a starter, we already mentioned the stat, but if you're just jumping in here, 12.9, running back 18, 9.8, running back 29, and 16.9, running back 13 across his 3 games as the lead back. And we had Ryan Grubb in an interview say he pretty much expects, I think Sharp has a lot of the same skill set. He's an excellent receiver. He's very, very capable pass protector. Obviously, a very powerful runner. I don't think there's anything in the game plan that would change if Ken is unavailable. Business as usual. And business as usual was 33 runs versus 25 passes last week. Nice running back, too. He's inside my top 24 running backs. Not the best of matchups against the Pats. That's probably the only reason. I'm a little hesitant. Should he be facing like the Cardinals? He might have been a top 12 running back here. But it's not the end of the world matchup either. We saw Zach Moss have some really nice runs against the Pats last week. And then Josh Jacobs, he's off the injury report. He's going to play. I'm still tracking news right now whether or not Marshawn Lloyd is playing. I don't know if the chat has seen anything on his status. I did my usual Adam Schefter scan this morning and didn't see anything on Marshawn Lloyd. But ultimately, let me know if you guys saw anything on that front. I do think he's an interesting stash. I should have probably added him to my top stashes of the week entering this one. And then ultimately, the last couple notes here for wide receivers. Hollywood Brown is not only going on injured reserve, he's not expected to play in 2024, at least in the regular season. Maybe he becomes a playoff weapon for this team. Brutal news for best ball drafters, where this guy was going around like 5'6" for much of the summer. Then he suffers the shoulder injury, and now he's not playing at all. Brutal news, though, of course. Yes, it sucks for us little fantasy nerds. Sucks for Marquise Brown, though. Took a low contract to go with the Chiefs, wanted to prove his worth playing with Pat Mahomes. And in a preseason game, suffers a season-ending injury. Doesn't really get to flash the goods at all. And it was reportedly, he was an absolute star in training camp. What it does mean, though, is wheels up for Xavier Worthy at this point, the clearest of runways. Already played 77% of the routes last week with Pat Mahomes. Getting the locker room talk, the bulletin board material, the Bengals safety saying all you got to do is get your hands on the little boy and he's not going to do anything. Oh, you know they're going to be designing up a few deep shots right off the bat for this guy. And good luck to the Bengals secondary. I think Xavier Worthy's going to go bananas yet again. And this just clears the runway for him to remain a clear-cut focal piece of this offense. I don't even know if he needed the injury necessarily, just given how good he looked. But if you have Xavier Worthy, and I have him in, I think, 6 out of my 7 leagues right now, maybe I'm biased, but I am just beyond the moon excited. Again, wish the best for Marquise Brown, but yeah, Xavier Worthy to the moon. Of course, Rashee Rice, I don't think he was going to ever be impacted. He plays a different role. He plays the Amon-Ra St. Brown layup role. He's going to still be the Amon-Ra St. Brown guy, but just even that much more secure in his target share there. Last handful of notes, annoying one, A.J. Brown gets a limited practice in on Friday and is questionable. Now, I think he plays. I'm not panicking, but these midweek things that pop up are a little annoying. And more annoying is the fact that they play on Monday night. So you'd have to have a backup plan ready for it. Now, it all depends on your league. Can you churn your bench players that have already played? If not, you're going to have to get somebody on there. And so I did prepare a handful of options that you could potentially look at. I think Ray McLeod, Darnell Mooney is 12%. So let me just pull up my list here that I had figured out. So Darnell Mooney was my favorite. Again, so now you know how this feels. Mooney was my favorite at 12% rostered. Ray McLeod, 2% rostered. Those are really the only 2 options I could see. I guess you could try to pick out like what guy is going to step up in his absence for the Eagles if he missed time. Maybe it's Johnny Wilson, the big-bodied wide receiver. But I'd probably lean to one of those Falcons guys and hope for a bomb against a really bad secondary. I do think he plays, and if he plays, I think you play him. They just gave he was non-committal. Nick Sirianni, we didn't get any of those like, oh, no, he's good to go. It's A.J. Brown. He's ready to go. Nothing like that. So I'd be a little worried. And I did get a couple of questions. One example was, should I play Tank Dell today on Sunday night, assuming we get no new news on A.J. Brown? It's like, yeah, if you have an option like that, yes, then just play him. Don't deal with the headache because The other issue is re-aggravation. He runs one route and he's out. So there's a lot of added risk here with A.J. Brown. He's a guy I will be bumping down in my next run of ranking updates, which I kind of do live here and then ultimately push them out to you guys around 10 o'clock when the show is done. But you guys help me kind of sift through the news and rankings as I answer questions for you. So if you have an A.J. Brown question, let me know. Those are some of your contingency plans there as well. T. Higgins, not going to play, doubtful, unlikely to go. And maybe Jamar Chase gets his legs more under him. He's historically dominated the Chiefs. We've seen Joe Burrow historically dominate the Chiefs. I think this is a different Chiefs team. I think this is a different Bengals team, even more importantly here. So I don't love going to Joe Burrow until I see it. I think that wrist thing might be a little bit more impactful than he led on. I'm obviously happy, though, to go back to Jamar Chase. I think he's right in my top 12 wide receivers this week. Not the top 4 or 5 receiver you normally would have, Matt. Wide receiver 11 for me this week, but likely in your lineups. In terms of guys that are questionable but likely to play, Jameson Williams, he's ready to go. Coming off that 124-yard day touchdown breakout. I think it's for real. Maybe he's going to be an up and down, inconsistent headache. I don't know, though. And this Tampa Bay secondary is out 3 starters today. I'm playing Jameson Williams. I know he's one of the questions at the top on this headline. I'm playing him. I'm firing him up. I love him in DraftKings at 5,300, but I also love him in my lineups. I plugged him in over like Christian Kirk, for example, in the leagues where I had both those guys. Really, really big fan of J-Mo Williams against this banged up secondary in the game with the highest points total. I love just targeting that Lions-Bucs matchup today if I can. And I think J-Mo is a big piece of this. I think he's going to have himself yet another feasting on Sunday. All righty. Got to water down here with all this fire hose of news. Jaden Reed was listed as questionable. He's going to play, but as mentioned, Malik Willis has never thrown for over 100 yards in an NFL start. The pie is going to be completely condensed. I imagine they're just going to run Josh Jacobs in the ground and hope for something to burst there. Ultimately, a terrible, terrible matchup. Not even a bad matchup if Jordan Love was healthy, but just a terrible setup when you have Malik Willis as the guy throwing you the rock. Malik Neighbors popped up for a little injury scare midweek. He's been upgraded to full, so he's ready to go. And you don't have to ask me if I'm playing Malik Neighbors. Facing the Commanders, is that even an NFL secondary? Like, are we kidding me how horrible that team is? You're firing up anybody that's facing that abysmal unit of a secondary. No doubt about it. And the last handful of notes here are Rome Odunze is questionable. Keenan Allen questionable. Both those guys Sunday night. I don't think either of them are worth the headache of waiting it out, particularly with Adam Schefter noting last night that Keenan Allen is going to test it pregame, and if he plays, he could be used more sparingly than usual. I mean, what are we doing here? We just had 98 scoreless yards from Caleb Williams in his NFL debut. I think it is a better matchup for these guys, but I think Shane Waldron's the idiot of idiots, and I hope he gets fired midseason. He never used his talent right in Seattle. Certainly didn't use it right to start with the Bears here. Either way, it might boost up DJ Moore if these guys are out, sure. And you're going to play DJ Moore no matter what, but I'm not, unless you are really desperate, I'm not waiting out Odunze or Keenan Allen this week. I've not seen enough from Caleb Williams, from Shane Waldron to make those guys worth the wait. And then Jordan Addison, he's not playing. He's ruled out. All the target shower goes to Justin Jefferson. They're going to need him against the 49ers. I think he's going to get peppered. We'll see how it goes for him. And Josh Palmer was listed as questionable. He is expected to play. It's a good matchup. I mean, the Panthers just got absolutely bludgeoned by Derek Carr and the Saints. But I think we know what the Chargers are going to want to do. When they get a lead, they're going to run the ball. They in the second half ran it 80% of the time last week. They're just going to want to hammer you on the ground, pound you into submission. And against the Chargers, I think that is exactly how the game plan is going to go. And the last receiver note is Josh Down. Is questionable, but is likely to potentially get in there at only 22% rostered. You're not playing him this week, but I think he's a great stash. Was the star of training camp for the Colts until he went down. A really, really interesting talent. And the last notes at tight end, Schultz was upgraded to full. He's going to play. Tight end such a barren wasteland. I saw him get cut in a lot of leagues, and it makes no sense to me. Given that, he's probably the 4th in the target totem pole at best, but he gets a good red zone role in an offense that is consistently driving there. So especially with like Jake Ferguson, Njoku all banged up, I think that Dalton Schultz should not be available in leagues. So for whatever reason, I saw him get cut in 3 out of my 8 leagues this week. Go check your waiver wire, see if he's out there. Jake Ferguson listed as doubtful. He's not going to play, nor is David Njoku. You need a backup plan like me. I go to Colby Parkinson up to 40% rostered now, was just 6% rostered entering the week. So a lot of people going to that play, and I think it's a great one. Was 9th in tight end routes this last week. Now Davis Allen is doubtful, ruled out last night, in fact. So it's going to be the Colby Parkinson show for sure. So I'm a big fan of Parkinson this week against a Panthers team that is just not that great. One of the worst secondaries in the league. I think Stafford and the Rams are going to have their way. I think it's going to be a fun game. I think the the Cardinals are going to put their points up too. Love a shootout style game there, but Parkinson, one of my favorite fill-ins for the week. And the last nugget of news here is, I mentioned it kind of in the middle when we're talking about Jerome Ford. The Browns might be out 3 of their top linemen, including both tackles, including Joel Bitonio, a stud guard. We will see if those guys are ruled in. But man, I love the Jags defense as a stream this week. 3,100 on DraftKings and in my top 8 overall plays of the week for your defenses here. I'm a huge fan of the Jags. I think they're going to just eat up. I had to make a prediction today. I think this is the last game we see of Deshaun Watson with the Browns. I think he's going to crap his pants. I think he's going to be horrendous. And ultimately, the team is going to commit to Jameis Winston moving forward from today. Fingers crossed. Maybe I'm just wish casting and hope it happens because I love Jameis and I think Watson's the ultimate bag of garbage as a player and certainly more as a human. I would love to see this team move on from him. Cleveland deserves better. Do they? I don't know. But yes, anybody deserves better than that piece of crap. So, alrighty, guys, that wraps up the news. Thank you again so much. We have about 50 questions or so already. Would love to have more, get them going. But almost 500 a year, 489. If you're just joining us, please do consider tapping that thumbs up. Like I mentioned, it really does boost us in the algorithm, get us out to more people. And if you're new to the show and haven't already subscribed, we'd love to have you. We're about 30, I think, away at this point from 4K. Oh, man, we're so close. Help push us over the edge, folks. We'd love to hit that this week. All righty, Tien Nguyen. Getting here, camping out in the tent. There we go, 500, baby. Already halfway to 1,000 like we had last week. The rest of the time here, folks, is dedicated to your questions. Pick 2, Charbonnet, Singletary, or Demarcus Robinson, half PPR. I think I'm going to lean. I really do like Demarcus. I think Charbonnet is the easiest. Yes, we play him, given all the things we talked about with Ken Walker out. Then it comes down to Singletary versus Demarcus. The matchup's not bad for either of these guys. And Demarcus, I mean, he really thrived last year, averaging well over 13 points per game, was a top 30 wide receiver in 5 of 6 games. The Rams reportedly love this guy. I know Tyler Johnson's the quote-unquote Puka fill-in, and so maybe he gets a little more of the design layup stuff. We'll see how that plays out. One of my favorite stashes of the week is Tyler Johnson to see how it plays out, but I am happy to roll out Demarcus Robinson this weekend. I'm a big Robinson believer. I think if I had the option to go 1 or 2 of those guys, if I had to pick between Singletary or Demarcus, I'd probably go Demarcus. Singletary, the better bet for the volume, but I really like Demarcus. So I'm going Charbonnet and I'm going Demarcus. And then asking Jerome Ford or B-Rob. And I think this is a B-Rob week, 10. One thing that I loved that I saw, a stat, was Brian Robinson got every single snap, every single touch inside the 10-yard line. Now, I was a little worried entering the season. Austin Eckler, such a goal line maven, such a receiving back maven. And he did get some receptions. He got some receiving work. They actually split that down the middle, though, with 4 catches for both backs last week. The bigger worry was, does Eckler mix in near the stripe? And he did not. Brian Robinson got every single one of those touches and is now in a phenomenal spot to get that work against the Giants. I think they will have no problem moving it up and down their throat. This is a Brian Robinson game, and I'm a huge fan. Plus, the extra receiving work that I didn't expect was just a bonus. So I loved what I saw out of Robinson. He was one of the bigger rest of season risers in week 1, and I think that only continues throughout this week. As much as I like Jerome Ford, I'm not playing him over him. I'm not playing him over Charbonnet, as the other question asked there. Morning Wolf, what's your game of the week? Yep, I nailed it. Lions and Bucs. I think that's going to be an absolute shootout. I cannot wait for that one. But I am very excited as well for the Rams and Cardinals. I think that's going to be a very, very fun game. I mean, it should be the Bengals Chiefs, right? You look at the schedule preseason, every single fan would have been circling that game. Let's get the popcorn ready. 4 o'clock. Can't wait. And I still have hope that Burrow and those guys rebound and we get a classic between Mahomes and Burrow. But as of today, it turns out at least fantasy game of the week, the one that I think is going to shoot out. And I think you nailed it. Lions, Bucs. I think we're going to get a beautiful one. And I think that's going to be a blast. But I think we're going to get a real fun one from the Cardinals and the the Rams as well. Really excited to see how that one goes. And for your Bears, yeah, I'm with you. I think they're going to lose on the road to Houston. I think Houston's just a better team right now. Yeah, a lot of injuries you guys are dealing with. And I think Shane Waller's just an absolute bozo, Krana. So we'll see how it goes. Need a flex. Demarcus Robinson, likely. Dotson's a really good one to toss out, actually. I should have probably thrown him in there as the contingency plan ahead of Darnell Mooney. I appreciate you reminding me, Krana. Like, I don't know why that one just completely slipped my mind. Dotson's a great toss-out, guys. And I actually think he's a great stash, too, because if he has to get his role elevated, yeah, he fizzled out in Washington. I still really like the player, though. I think last year, Eric Bieniemy was a moron. I think Sam Howell's skill set did not mesh with what Dotson does well. And I'm still keeping the light on for a little fantasy production. And if no A.J. Brown is ruled out, yeah, I think that's a play. I would probably just play Demarcus Robinson, though. That's one of those ones where I don't, if you have A.J. Brown and you're waiting it out and then you have Dotson, then maybe you rule that one because A.J. Brown is worth waiting for. Obviously, it's A.J. freaking Brown. We just saw last week 20 points, however many he had. He ripped that 25-mile-per-hour run the catch. But I think Demarcus Robinson over likely. I know how good likely was last week, but it's tricky because Mark Andrews, I do still believe, and I think those guys are just going to constantly nibble each other's cheese. Either way, Demarcus Robinson is my favorite of these guys, unless you have A.J. Brown and you want to wait it out there, Krana. Flex 2 PPR. Reed, Moss, Warren, McConkey. I'm going to go Moss. I'm not trusting Warren yet, and I'm going to go McConkey. I'm a really big fan of the lad here. I don't want to trust Reed with Malik Willis if I don't have to, and I think lad's a good enough reason to not trust Reed. Even though, again, Reed's probably the only Packer receivers I'd even sniff this week. All righty, Krana. Getting them all in here. I love it. Metcalf, McLaurin, Jerome Ford, Brian Thomas. I'm going to lean – I want to say Brian Thomas here. Crazy over DK Metcalf, but Christian Gonzalez probably shadowing him. Terry McLaurin, how do you trust him with such bad misusage from Cliff Kingsbury last week? I do think maybe it's Jerome Ford, though. Ride the running back. That's the featured back right now. I'm going to go Ford there, Krana. That's a really tough one, though. Great question so far, guys. These are tough. And I love it. This is what we're here for, to put the brain to work, to get me going on a morning here. I'm making sure, by the way, my lad above Jaden Reed sticks in my rankings here. Don't want to give advice that I'm not actually putting out there for the folks, the good folks here. Neighbors Worthy, Najee. So I'm going, Neighbors versus Worthy. To me, it's definitely Neighbors versus Worthy. As good as the Najee matchup is and the volume is going to be solid, you got to play one of those electric rookies. Gun to my head. I think I'm going to go Neighbors. You get the Washington matchup. I think there are – how many games are we going to see Wan'Dale Robinson get 11 freaking targets? Brian Dable does not watch that tape and say, okay, we got to do more of this. The guy did literally nothing with the work. You got to get some of those screens in Neighbors' hands, and I think that starts this week. I think we get a Neighbors 27-point blow up today. All righty, flex PPR. Last one from our guy, Krana here. Aaron Jones, Kirk, Charbonnet. Oh no, sorry. You had pick 2 here too. I'm going to go Neighbors and Rice easily. I'll wait it out with Harrison there. And Kirk, Flowers, Aaron Jones, Charbonnet. I'm going to go – I like Aaron Jones this week. I do. And then flex PPR, Kamara, Jerome Ford, or Brian Robinson. Full PPR, you got to keep it with Kamara. Saw a great stat about, when he's pressured, Derek Carr, the Alvin Kamara is the number one targeted player, averages a 40% target share type of stuff, and the Cowboys are going to be all over them as well. Hemda, we are back, baby. Great to see you, my guy. Welcome to the show. Cheers. All right, need a flex. BTJ, B Cooks, or Jameson. I'm going JMO, man. I'm there for you. I really like BTJ too. He's right up there with it, but I think the JMO breakouts for real. Love the game environment today against the Bucs with 3 secondary members down. This was a crazy stat I heard this week. Jared Goff averages against Todd Bowles' defenses. They've met up 4 times. He's thrown for multiple touchdowns 4 out of 4 times. He has thrown for over 350 yards 3 out of 4 times. He averages 389 yards per game against a Todd Bowles defense, and he has a 500-yard day against Todd Bowles. It's that blitz rate that the Goff, for whatever reason, at home against Todd Bowles, he just smashes. I think it's a great Amon-Ra day. He's another guy when getting facing blitz. Amon-Ra gets just like those layup looks. I think he's going to really rebound in a huge way. But I think Jamo, that he just looked like a different beast, and I am ready to ride that. I love these guys. BTJ Cooks, I'm solid about too. But yeah, I'm going Jamo here and keep smashing all the good stuff from my boy Wolf and Co. But you've been here for day one, man. It's awesome. I will keep climbing up, baby. Skyrocket, maybe a little bit of exaggeration. We're not quite at the moon yet, but man, we're going to keep grinding. We're going to keep trying. Definitely growing, and it's all because of you guys. And if you want to keep helping us grow, guys, that thumbs up button, it seems so silly, but it's a free way to help out your boy, get us out to more people. Smash that like wherever you're at, the shares, the likes, the retweets. It all does truly add up. We're already near 600 live with us here. I love to see it. Thank you guys so much, making my morning here. So many great questions to sift through. A lot of new names I'm seeing down there too. If you don't mind, you enjoy what you're seeing, please do consider hitting that sub button as we make the climb to 4K. It would mean a lot to us as we make that push here. I know Lamar. I have Lamar and Jay Daniels. I know it's probably going to be a Henry Day, Joel, which I see you here, but it's still like it doesn't have to be a Henry Day. It seems like that was the likely script, but I'm not benching Lamar. I'm not. Daniels, great matchup too against the Giants, but it could be a Brian Robinson day. He might get 3 touchdowns, So I'm going to play my stud. I'm going to play Lamar. It could work out just in his favor. He looked real fast, real shifty. Did that lost weight. It's a little concern for the longevity, but he definitely had some more speed than he already had, which is a scary, scary thought, Joel. So I'm definitely going Lamar myself. I'm also in a super flex league of Marvin Harrison and likely on the bench. Everything kinds of my third option of Diggs Waddle. He did lead an egg. You got to choose between MHJ or likely. I'm going to go MHJ there. I think the Cardinals are going to look at the tape, make a point. We had that game with that route. He was running wide open. What are we doing here, folks? Got to hit that one. But ultimately, I am a little worried with Drew Petzing, which the run game he designs, beautiful. Phenomenal blocking concepts. Love it for James Conner. He knows what he's doing on the ground, but he uses such low motion rates, very little play action, very little layering. It doesn't look great. And I had a lot of faith in Drew Petzing. Starting to wither. All that to say, though, I still believe in Marvin Harrison. I'm not buying any of the narrative. Sure, his miles per hour weren't incredible. Speed was never his game. And I think they're going to come out. They're going to design a ton for them. This is a team that we just saw with the Lions get demolished by Jameson Williams. And I think Marvin Harrison can come out and have himself a big game. So I'm going to go him over likely, who I think is going to have his cheese constantly nibbled with Mark Andrews. Eric Buckman, good morning indeed to you too, sir. Jacobs or Dobbins? I'm going Dobbins. Whew, what a day that guy had, right? 10 carries or like 140 yards. I know the long speed's not there. He got tracked from behind, yada, yada, yada. What he's always been great at, though, is the vision and finding the tight creases and breaking into the second level. And, man, he still has that. And 80% Dobbins is 10,000 times better than Gus Edwards. He averaged like 5 times the yards per carry. That sounds like a joke. It actually is true. I think it was like 3.7 times the yards per carry of Gus Edwards here. So I'm definitely going Dobbins against a Panthers team that is just abysmal. They're going to want to continue to pound and pound and pound for sure. And then we have Eric Buckman. Good morning. Running back 2, Jacobs or Dobbins. Also wide receiver 2, Jay Williams or Kirk. Thank you, sir. I am going Dobbins. You already asked that one. And then I'm going to go J-Mo over Kirk. I think I said that one at the top as an example. Yeah, I'm going J-Mo over Kirk where I have it too. Trade Jerome Ford and Waddle for King Henry. I like the move, Emil. Specifically because Jerome Ford, that's got an expiration date. Chubb, we don't know how early that expiration date is, but Chubb's coming back. So Ford's going to be relatively meaningless at some point this season. It might be as soon as the next 3 weeks. Waddle, what's going to happen with Tua? I don't know. You bought low on King Henry. I think it's a great move there. Callie Trader over on Twitter asking, you have YouTube Live? Indeed, we do. That's where the majority of these questions are coming in from, Callie Trader. So pop over at Roto Street Journal on YouTube. I usually tweet out the link before I go live. I don't know that I did that this morning, and my apologies if I have not. But Roto Street Journal on YouTube, on our Instagram as well. We have the link in the story if you want to check that out to Callie Trader. Sorry, I should have tweeted that out this morning. my apologies. Definitely come jump in. It's a race to 4K. Let's do it. Remember to comment, like, subscribe, and share for our man Campanelli. I love to see it. We're live 3 to 4 times a week doing the promotion for me. Thank you, Campanelli, doing the Lord's work over there. Thomas Medina over there in Panama, if I'm not mistaken, right, my man? Who to flex, JSN, Gus, or Javante? Oh, we're in an ugly spot here, Tomas. We're rolling around in some mud to start the year. Let's figure out what's the best of the best here. I lean here. I think I'm going Gus. And I know it was hideous last week, but the Panthers are so bad. And I think if Gus is ever going to get you something, it's a week like this. I like a touchdown, maybe even 2. I don't like any of these guys, my friend. And I know I was high on Gus entering the year, but Dobbins looked way better than I expected, and Gus looked way worse. And I'm not going to underreact just because I had a take that I just don't believe in anymore. So, Thomas, I still go with Gus this week, though. McLaurin or Deontay for Jeff. 2 big busts in week 1. Who do I think has a better shot at rebounding? I think it's McLaurin. I do not want to bet on any Panthers right now. Jeff, I know full PPR benefits Deontay, and it doesn't matter to me. McLaurin was a long bomb away from really just having a fine day and being okay. Joel Quaggy. K. Kirk or Lad McConkey? I'm going Lad McConkey. I don't want to. Brian Thomas might be that number 1 receiver over there, Joel. So I'm going McConkey. I thought he looked real shifty. 7 targets, 5 catches. Boom. Loved what I saw from Lad. Full PPR. Pittman or Charbonnet? Ooh, Justin, good one. Full PPR. I'm going to lean Charbs here. Just the featured workload back. Probably going to get some nice dink and dunk work, too, to help you in the full PPR setting. Pittman will be okay, but, I mean, you saw it last week. He had like a 40% target share. What was that, 4 catches? It's an Anthony Richardson passing attack. It's just not good. I don't think they're going to need to throw much against a bad – I mean, you saw what Saquon and the Eagles did. Pound, 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 pound. That terrible run D. I think it's going to be a big Taylor day, Justin. So I'm going Charbonnet there. Miles, what's up? Happy Sunday, fun day. Indeed. Thanks for going live. Oh, thank you for – always nice to get the little appreciation from the folks out there. Absolutely happy to do it, though, Miles. I appreciate your kind words. Should I start Tay Adams or Diggs? This is a good one. I don't like to do this, but I glanced over at my rankings just because the receivers were already pulled up. I was making an adjustment. I have Diggs 20 and Adams 21. Oh, man, that's about as close as it gets. I do look at, though, I saw what the Chiefs did with Rashee Rice and motioning him and getting the linebacker matchup. You could see that type of usage for Adams. And he's the clear number 1, but then Bowers looked really good, like led the team in targets. I guess I'm just in the mindset, like at this point with it looking a little sketchy there. And you get the Raiders. I mean, the Ravens, not the best of matchups, but not maybe as scary as they've been in the past. I still think I'm going to go for the C.J. Stroud-led offense here against Chicago. I know it's a little more congested, but I'm going with that. In negotiation, I trade away CMC, Etienne, and Jones, receive Breece Hall, King Henry. Yes. I think the CMC thing, if I could have gotten fair value for him, I would. And yes, you get the star of the league at Breece Hall right now and King Henry, a big battle out. I love it. Speak the truth, RR. Olave or take the risk and hope AJB plays. I did pick up Dotson. So, yeah, Dotson's not a bad stash here. But I think Olave, this is a nice rebound spot. That's the type of guy – I don't know, speak the truth. This is a really tricky one. Like I'm doing AJ Brown on the fly here. I'm going to kind of like, who would I just play above him? Like, I think I'd even rather play like, because the thing is too, is like when he plays, he's probably going to get AJ Terrell, one of the better corners in the league. Olave, I'm not an Olave guy though. I've never been that, like normally this would be an easy, like just play Olave. Don't worry about it. But I'm not an Olave guy. I think I'd probably rather just go for AJ Brown. No, just get Olave in there. Like this team looked better than they have. I think you make a point to get that guy the ball. So I'm going to go Olave. AJ Brown has me in a blender though. I'm not going to lie. That's a really, really tough situation today. Castro Raider. Who do I start? Andrews likely or Bowers? Oh man. Yeah, that's a tricky one. Yeah, bittersweet. So you had Keon in the flex. That sucks. That's too bad, Castro. So great to see H.N. going off, but we need a tight end here. This Raven situation, again, I think is going to be a huge headache. Bowers led the Raiders in targets. They're going to need to throw. I'm going to go Bowers here over the Ravens guys. I think it's just going to be a mess all year. Thomas Radke, start Worthy, Cooper, or McConkey. Half PPR. I gotta go Worthy, and it's kind of far and away no-brainer for me. I am all in on Worthy this week. I'm going Worthy, no doubt about it. Let's plant some trees. Should I drop Hollywood Brown? Yeah, he's not going to play all year, as the latest report, and if he plays, it's not going to be for another few months. Not worth hanging on, burning the IR spot, anything of that nature. Good morning, half PPR. Start Worthy, Cooper, or so we got that one, Thomas, already. We're going Worthy, no doubt. J-Mo in a shootout or DK against the Pats in a low-scoring game? Well, your question kind of tells me the way you're leaning, and I think you're leaning the right way. You got to go J-Mo in the shootout. I have J-Mo higher in the ranks today. Olave, or take the risk with AJB on Monday Night Football. I think you asked this one on Twitter already, Tanya, and I'm going to go Olave. It's so risky, and I don't know that Dotson. I like stashing him. I don't want to play him. Joey Davis, should I start Ramondre or Drake London? Full PPR. I got to go Ramondre here. Eagle secondary, it should be the most exploitable possible matchup. All that to say, though, Ramondre, 125 yards and 120 were after contact. 12 missed tackles forced rather, and just looking like an absolute monster and a workhorse, getting receiving work. The game flow might not be quite as much in his favor this week, but to me, he just looked like a guy, and Jerome Mayo said it, like, we got to get this guy the ball as much as possible, and he did. And I love Ramondre. I love the volume. I'm going to follow that here until I see better from Drake London. Like, I'm not convinced. I've never been a huge Drake London guy. I hated him going in like best ball. I had barely any of them once he got jumped up to round 2. If he's ever going to break out, like, it's got to be this week against this pathetic Eagle secondary. And if he doesn't, like, it's time to panic. But I thought Kirk Cousins looked awful. I'd rather wait and see on London if I have the option to, and Ramondre is a great option to wait and see. Jake Curtis, I need to start too. Adams, Amari, and Reed. This is one where I do bench Reed. I just don't want to have to sign up for the Malik Willis experience if I don't have to, and I don't want to there. Less than 100 yards in all his starts. Nicola, start Charbonnet or Stevenson. I'm going to go Stevenson. I'm going to keep riding that horse as we talked about the way the Pats want to as well. So I'm a big fan there. Giuseppe, hello, world. Hey, world. What's going on, world? Good to see you. Happy Sunday. Let's go. Sutton, Myers, A.D. Mitchell, or Lazard. You need one of them. Half PPR. Not a huge fan of any of them. Sutton, I want to say, but then Joey Porter's become one of the best shutdown corners in the league for the Steelers, one of the few that you have to worry about. But it's like, what does Jacoby do for you? Lazard, I don't know that I can trust that. The Sutton targets are just so – how do you turn that down? If I have to go through these guys, I'm probably going Sutton there, Giuseppe. It looks like we did get a super chat here from Jonathan Santiago. So let me find that one. Thank you again, Campanelli, monitoring the chats for me, helping us find that. There it is, Jonathan Santiago. Worthy over Ayuk, got Adams and Wilson starting. So I actually have Worthy. I have Wilson the highest, and then Worthy's next. So I even have Worthy above Adams. And in all honesty, Jonathan, I'm playing Ayuk over Adams this week, is how I would play this. Gets his legs under him. That Minnesota secondary is not good. Daniel Jones made them look better than they actually are. There's going to be a lot of pressure generated, and that's like where Kyle Shanahan thrives, is like, okay, you want to blitz me? Deebo Samuel is really the main weapon there, but he's going to get his shots to Ayuk as well. So I'm going to actually go Wilson, then Worthy, and then Ayuk in this situation is how I would play this one. So best of luck there. But yeah, I'm definitely playing Ayuk this week and benching Devontae Adams. Alrighty. That is the last of the super chats. Thank you, Campanelli. If you want to cut the line, guys, you want to get the answer right away, there's a big mailbag, and I love to see it. It looks like Skeeter's helping out a bunch of people. I love to see it. Great. I love watching you guys answer each other's questions. That's the best. But let me now dive back in to where we left off, which was, I believe, Giuseppe Russo had a second one. It was Kyler or Jaden Daniels. I love the game for both of these guys. I think I'm going to lean Jaden Daniels, though. I mean, that rushing upside is just so high. We saw it last week. I mean, he threw for like 140 yards and still had 28 fantasy points on 148 scoreless yards there. So I'm going to lean Jaden Daniels. I love both of those games, honestly. I think they could both just be, especially the Giants Commanders, just an ugly shootout where like Kyler and Stafford could be a fun shootout. But I did see a stat that the Rams have kind of had Kyler's number. He's only averaged around 15.9 fantasy points per game in his career starts against Sean McVay's Rams. So if there's like a reason to pause, and I think this is a good one with Jaden Daniels, I'm going to go Daniels there. May have to sit A.J. Brown. Don't think he'll play. Who do I sub for him? Myers, Ray, Mooney, Dotson, Yosevats, McCaffrey. I think this is one where I would just wait it out, and if he doesn't play, you play Dotson. None of these other options are compelling enough to toss in. Olave's a different beast, right? He's a universal wide receiver one coming into the year, should still rebound. Okay, I'll play Olave. That's a nice safe, like put him in here. But if I have Dotson and I can wait it out when this is my other options, like, yeah, I'm going to wait this one out, Krana, for sure. Eduardo, 12-man PPR, starters, AR. So what do you think? What can you do? Eduardo, we got a big show with a lot of questions. That's not something I can field. Like, I like your team. It's solid, but I can't do like here's your next 5 steps to do on the middle of a live stream with like a 200 question mailbag, brother. Appreciate you coming in. Appreciate you questioning. Maybe find my DMs on Twitter. I'm probably going to start a Patreon, guys, actually, and get those types of questions. What do I do next with my team? Trade questions, what the typical DMs were. I'm thinking about starting that and getting a couple like bonus streams a week for those type of people. So that's where those questions will belong for the future. Javonte Wills or Tanks Bigsby? I got to keep with Javonte. I think last week was a bad run out for the guy. I thought he looked better than people are giving him credit for. Tank did look really good too. He's still the number 2 running back, and Cleveland's not a great matchup. I'm going to lean Javonte here as the starter. Giuseppe, flex PPR, David Monty, Amari Cooper, or JMO. Oh, man, I love JMO this week. I love him over Amari, but I'm probably going to go David Montgomery. Just nice, safe. Bank on the 15 to 20 touches, bank on the touchdown, and maybe you get 2, and it's nice. But JMO is sexy. So if you're in a shootout game, you want to chase the points, I think the ceiling is definitely with JMO here. But I'm going to go David Montgomery myself in most cases. Marv or Neighbors? I'm definitely going Neighbors in that one. You got the match volume that comes way. You bench Neighbors against the Commanders. No way, folks. Start Jaden Reed or Wandale or Greg Dortch. Oh, man. I think Skeeter, I've already talked about the stat. I'll say it again. Malik Willis has never thrown for 100 yards in his NFL career in multiple starts. Pretty bad. Pretty low volume there. But when I'm looking at this type of situation, I don't know about Wandale. If it's full PPR, you're getting some catches, but I think he's just the bona fide blah, like the definition of gross. You don't want it in your lineup. I actually like Dortch. I'm not against Dortch at all, but I think this is one of those situations where it's like, I'll take the stab at Reed. Like the other options are so uninspiring that let me go for the guy that just looked like one of the most electric players in the NFL last week. Truly, with the ball in his hand, was absolute dynamite. They're going to be scheming things for this guy to try to get Malik Willis just those yak opportunities. And if anybody could just break one, and this Colts secondary is terrible. Like if it was Love playing, Reed would probably be a top 15 wide receiver, maybe top 10 for me this week. That's how bad of the downgrade Willis is, but I can't. It's not so bad to the point that I go to Wandale Robinson, I'm playing Reed there. I like Greg Dortch, I do, but I'm going to go Jaden Reed. Jurassic Dodo, start MHJ or Dobbins. I'm going Dobbins. I know it's MHJ should rebound, but I cannot turn down Dobbins against the Panthers. They're going to want to bleed clock. They're going to want to just pound the rock. And they talked about this being a hot hand situation. How could it not be J.K. Dobbins with the hot hand? More than tripling up the yards per carries of Gus Edwards. He saw all the inside the 10, which is not what you'd expect. Is Dobbins getting that work? But he did. I just love Dobbins. I thought he looked great. I think his blocking game looks great. Like the screen game, everything. I'm a big fan of Dobbins in that one. So I'm going to go J.K. Thomas Radke. Half PPR. Start Worthy, Cooper, or McConkey. I am going to go Tom, you're repeating your questions here. I think see that one again. I'm going to put it in timeout. I don't know if Campanelli, you have timeout power yet, but you start seeing some of these repeaters. You can toss some people in timeout for me. No, that's dangerous to give that much power out here. I don't know about fire up Wandale. Again, I really do think I know the Willis stat's scary, but I got to go for Jane Reed. Have Jay Wills as my running back too. I have Murray, Stafford, and Jay Daniels. Would you trade Daniels for Jonathan Brooks or Najee? I'm trying to think who Jay Wills is. Is it Jamal Williams? Because that's pretty ugly. I don't love moving Daniels, but yeah, if you're starting Jamal Williams as your running back too right now, then I'd go for Najee right now and get that volume. I think, yeah, I like going for Najee, I guess. But I think you could get, and as Skeeter says, I think you could get better value for Daniels. But Jay Wills, I don't know if it's Jeff Wilson or Jamal Williams or who it is, Giuseppe. But yeah, I would try to get Najee myself. Down bad with CMC injury, pick 2. Yeah, we're all down bad, aren't we, team? It sucks to not have our first round number 1 overall pick. Goddamn. Friggin' CMC. Dortch, Swift, Kirk, Shaheed, Tyler Johnson. So we got to pick 2 of these. You are down bad, Team McCurdy. No, I get it. I'm rolling around the weeds too, my friend. I think I got to go Christian Kirk. You got to go with the talent here. Swift seems like the other obvious play. He did get better volume than the stats might suggest. Like he was like a 70% nearly snap player. But I go I think I'm going to go Shaheed and just go for a bomb here. I'm going to go Christian Kirk and Rashid Shaheed. Skeeted. I mean, hey, I go through the news. I like that you're like answering questions, helping people out, but that's what we do. I go through the news. I go through some of my favorite plays and the recap. Like if you don't want to be that, yikes, he's on the first question, then see you later. But I'm happy you're here. Happy you're helping people out. Would love you to consistently do that. But yeah, like a 30-minute pre-show where we talk about news and stuff, like that's about as like obvious as it gets. Like, I mean, come on, man. Like, am I not supposed to give any of my own opinions the entire show, like before we go into the questions? And a lot of questions come up from the news too. Like I don't do it for no reason. And it's important to know the news and then it informs the questions, buddy. So yeah, I appreciate you helping out people. I would love to have you around long-term, but don't complain about 30 minutes of a pre-show. Like, come on. Start 2 PPR, Cooper, Tank Dell, Drake London, Malik Neighbors, Ford, or Williams. I love JMO. I love Jameson Williams. So I'm going him, and I think I'm going to go Neighbors. Yeah, I don't think. I'm going to go Neighbors is actually my top option here. But I do think I'm going JMO over Tank Dell, which I know I'm the biggest Tank Dell truther there is out there. I'm bumping Tank in the rankings as we speak, but I still have Jameson Williams higher. So I'm going to go Tank Dell. I'm going to go Jameson Williams and Malik Neighbors. Charlie, best of luck there. Ingrams or Andrews? Oh, man. Just 2 flat-out busts this last week, Eduardo. I'm leaning – I want to see what happens with the Ravens tight ends. And I just don't think they're going to have to throw much. Ingram destroyed Cleveland last year. I know that means nothing, but like it's just a nice data point to have a 30-point day against that team. I think I'm leaning Ingram here. And then let's see how that plays out. And then in terms of Rashad White or Jacobs – that's a good one because the Lions are one of the toughest rundies, but they also aren't the best at defending receiving backs, and that's what Rashad does the best. So I'm going to lean Rashad White here. Indy, though, they got murdered, right, by Joe Mixon, right? And they're just going to, as ugly as the Malik Willis offense should be, they're going to want to feed this man. I think I'm going to go Jacobs, actually. I'm going to switch on out. If it's PPR and you get any receiving points, I go Rashad White, but half or standard, I'm going to go with Jacobs. Just ride the volume. Mark De Silva, happy football Sunday. Indeed. Full PPR. Ridley, D. Johnson, Wandale, or Dortch. Ridley's the tough matchup here against the Jets, but again, Dortch, Wandale, or rely on the Panthers? No, thank you. I'm going to go Ridley, just hope for him to break one. What's up, Mr. Tracero Cinco? Let's go. Indeed. Pick 2, full point. JSN, B. Thomas, or B. Bowers. I'm benching JSN until I see otherwise. I'll tell you, if he doesn't show up today against the Pats, I'm going to cut him. I am not trusting him. As Skeeter says here, he has shown nothing, and I fully agree with that. Like, one of the most overhyped guys in the league, in my opinion. I have him in one league, kind of landed with him in the auction unintentionally. Like, was bidding him, and that's why you don't bid on players that you don't want. I'm going to cut him over Jalen McMillan, I think. I have to cut one of them for a kicker at some point today, and I'm probably cutting JSN. Maybe he breaks out against the Pats and proves me wrong, but if I see nothing today, I see no reason to hold this guy. He has done nothing so far in this league. He's banking on the hype of he was better than Olave and Garrett Wilson for a year in college, and an offense that designed looks for the slot receiver, and those other two are just way more complete receivers. Well over an hour in, guys. So we get to Nicola's question. Would love to get to 1,000. We're at like 770. Great to see it. We'll be live for another hour answering all of your questions. Put a thumbs up button, the likes, the shares, the retweets. All of it does so help us out. We do this for free because we love it, but we also are trying to grow this thing into something that could be a nice, sustainable source of income that we can bank on for years and years to come. And growing the squad is the only way we can do that. So we need your help. And we're going to be able to continue to do this and continue to do it for free. So please do consider just that easy, free way, the thumbs up, the likes, the shares, all that stuff really does help us out. Nicholas, sorry, I didn't mean to jump off your question here. Flowers, Ayuk, Marv, Worthy, or Tank Dell. I can only pick 3. I like Worthy. I like Ayuk. And then it gets tough because like the Ravens, are they going to need to throw today? Most likely not. Tank Dell's in a three-head nightmare, but I do think he's going to get deep tonight and score a big one. I think it's kind of like a Tank Dell eruption night in my bones. I kind of feel that. So I think I'm going to go Worthy, Ayuk, and Tank Dell. You're just going to toss some grenades out there and see how they go. But I look at my rankings, and I have Tank the lowest of them, and I don't know that I agree with that. I'm going to do a little soul searching here through the rankings. Like I have Pittman too high. I'm bumping Tank up. I think a Tank grenade makes sense tonight. I'd rather have JMO in than Zay. Like I have Zay too high. I love the design looks he was getting, but I just don't think they're going to need to throw. I really don't. So I'm bumping him down, bumping Pittman down. So I'm going to rank this one again: Worthy, Ayuk, and Tank. Toss the grenades out. Fire off the missiles, Nicola. Which looks like Skeeter doesn't agree. He says Marvin, Flowers, Worthy, but a lot of good options there. I'm worried about Marvin, though. I need to see if I have good enough options. I'd rather see it first before I go for it. It's not one where it's like, maybe it is. Maybe he is as good as everyone thought. It probably is. But I feel like that's one of those ones, like, even if he pans out today, he might be getting like 70 and a touchdown. I'd be shocked, and maybe he does it to me, just like force-feed me my own BS. I'd be really shocked to see like a 130, 2 touchdown eruption. I just don't think this passing game is nearly designed well enough. So to me, I'd rather have Worthy. I'd rather have Ayuk, and I'm just going to go for the Tank Dell bomb tonight. I feel good about Tank tonight. I really do. Likely or Bowers? I'm going to go Bowers over Likely right now. PPR. That all being said, I know I was just like saying I don't love Marvin Harrison as much as a lot of people might. I'm 110%, 10 out of 10 times, twice on Sundays and 8 times on Mondays, Marvin Harrison over Madison. Like, that's not even a question, Tanya. I'm sorry, but like, come on. What are we doing here? Marvin Harrison or Madison? Madison? Oh my God. I know he looked okay this last week. I know he's probably the receiver back for the Raiders, but come on. Like, we can't panic that much. We cannot panic that much. I mean, maybe not. If Marvin Harrison busts like he did last week, then yeah, you'll be laughing at me back. But it's Madison. It's Madison. Come on. Mr. Tracero Cinco, pick 2, full PPR. JMO, DJ Moore, JSN, B. Thomas. I'm definitely going JMO. I think I'm going to go DJ Moore for the other one. But Thomas is really nipping at his heels, not going to lie. JSN's the only one I'm definitely not considering at all. 1.5 point. D. Johnson, Cortland Sutton, J. Palmer, Dortch. That gets uglier. That's a little uglier, Mr. Tracero Cinco. I think there I'm going to go Sutton and just chase the 12 targets he saw last week. Joel, 2-flex league, Ford or Likely? I'm going to go Jerome Ford. Go for the back. Let's see. If Likely does it again well ahead of Andrews, then we can bump him to the top 5 tight ends, and we don't even ask about him anymore. But yeah, until then, I don't know. Reed or BTR? I'm going Brian Thomas. Brian BTR. I think BTR is Brian Thomas, right? What's the R? I don't know. I think he meant BTJ is my guess. Alex Dane, but either way, yeah, you're going Brian Thomas. Unless BTR is someone I don't know, please let me know. But I think I'm assuming that's BTJ, Brian Thomas. Need 2 flex and need 1 running back. I have Zamir White, Rico Dottle, Pollard, Tank, Neighbors, or Okay, so I'm guessing these are different questions here, Quincy. I'm going to try we got to word our questions a little better. Space them out, ask a couple questions. I'm going to go Pollard well ahead of those other 2 running backs. I'm going to go Neighbors over Tank and Likely, and in Dortch. And I would go Jalen Hurts over Jane Daniels. But let's ask that question a little clearer. I don't know exactly if I got exactly what you're asking for there. Marvin Harrison or Tank Dell? I like I said, I'm going Tank. I know a lot of people, Skeeter saying Marvin, obviously. And again, I love it, Skeeter. I love you helping out, answering the questions. I'm in disagreement. I think Marvin Harrison should rebound. I think they're going to probably make a point of getting this guy going early and often, and maybe he feeds me the crow. But I love Tank Dell. I'm just such a Tank Dell truther. I think they trail Nico Collins out, Jalen Johnson, their number 1 corner, and Tank just he was a little bit of an overthrow away from having a monster day last week. He just looks as good. I love that I saw 80% of the routes for Tank Dell last week. Any worries about him being a distant third receiver should have been washed up immediately. I didn't have any of those, by the way. A lot of people did. I love Tank. And if you're looking for upside, both these guys, especially in full PPR, there's more target hog upside to Marv, but the guy had 1 catch for 4 yards. We can't act like this is a locked-in, obvious play, in my opinion. Skeeter disagrees. I would disagree, though. I think Tank is the eruption candidate. Zeke or Brandon Cooks in half? I like Zeke. I mean, he looked better than I think a lot of people expected. I entered the year much higher on Zeke than most. I ended up with about 20-something% of him in best ball, probably more than I needed or wanted. But he had all the goal line roll on lock. He played ahead of Dowdle by a mile and looked okay. I like Zeke. I like Cooks too, but I think Zeke's the play. McMillan or Tyler Johnson, the better proactive ad? Joe Mike. I like McMillan myself. I am a huge McMillan fan. I think Tyler Johnson's very, very interesting too in the potential Puka Nacua style role. If he gets that, that could have a lot of volume. But I just love McMillan. I think he's a baller. He was a fingertip catch away from a 2-touchdown, 120-yard day, and he wouldn't be sitting on waiver wires. And I think we're not far away from that type of eruption. Plus, if something happened to Tyler Johnson, he's hit the nuts. This is the best it's going to get for him. Let's see what he does. Okay. But I don't think it's going to be that great. Whereas McMillan, as the third receiver, has a lot of explosive value already. And then if something happened to Godwin or Mike Evans, he can play inside, he can play outside. I think he's a stud. I think he's a very, very good player. Whereas Tyler Johnson, he's been a journeyman his whole NFL career. And I think he's been okay wherever he's landed, type of guy. I think he's going to be fine. I like both these guys. I tweeted out today. My top 3 proactive ads are Bucky Irving, Jalen McMillan, and Tyler Johnson. He's in my top 3 list, but I have McMillan too for a reason. I love myself some Jalen McMillan. All right. Good morning. Mark, Deontay. Oh, yeah, I'm going Terry. And I know both these guys busted, but again, I think Terry, way easier to bet on him rebounding. The Panthers are just a dumpster fire. Want nothing to do with it. Marv or Jamo? Call me nuts. I'm going Jamo. Loved what I saw from the guy. Love that game environment. And I'm on the position of I'd like to see Marv do it before I go to him. Think he's going to do it. I do. And I don't have to have him on my bench. But when I have a guy like Jamo who just absolutely ate, I'm going to go Jamo myself. And I'm bumping up DJ Moore. I appreciate you guys asking these great questions because it does really help me sift through the rankings and put out what I believe in. Robert Christensen. I have Walker. Who should I fill in? Wandale, Chase Brown, Bucky Irving. I'm thinking on giving Chase Brown. Yeah, these options, I think Chase is the surest bet. I normally might even say Bucky Irving, but that Detroit run D is really, really strong. And if they're playing from behind, I think they're going to need to go to him or to Rachaad White more in that pass catching role. So I am leaning him. Alrighty. Stephen Drake's coming in with another super chat. It's back-to-back tonight. Thank you so much for your support, Stephen. You're so generous. Great. It really goes, as much as I love the thumbs up, and that goes a long way, the money can't ever be beat. And I really, really, really appreciate you tossing us a super chat today. You think today's a Tank Dell Day and Nico's competing for touches, would you think Ford is a better yet play for guaranteed touches? So that comes back to your original question. I do think it's a good Tank Dell Day, but I'm still have Nico higher. As much as I like Tank Dell to catch a bomb, that doesn't mean Nico. I don't think it's mutually exclusive. You can have a good Tank Dell Day and Nico can still go for 150. I would not bench Nico for Ford. It seems like you want to get Ford in your lineup. So to return back to your question, Mason, Charbonnet, Jerome Ford, and Nico, if you really wanted to get Ford into your lineup, it would be over Charbonnet. I'm not benching Nico. He's a top 10 wide receiver in my ranks this week. He's going to be a top 10 receiver in my ranks nearly every single week. I mean, this guy is a lot of analysts that I like drawing Julio Jones comparisons, and I see it. The guy can block people out of the building. He is just a gazelle striding down the field. And he's in an offense where it's you can try to take him out of the game, but you can't because you got Tank Dell and Stephon Diggs all around you. I love Nico Collins, Steven. So I would never endorse playing Jerome Ford over Nico. And I do think he's still the fourth out of those four good options that you have. But if you really wanted Ford in there, you're feeling a good Ford day, I would bench Charbonnet myself, is where I lean. More super chats. You guys are so generous. Thank you so much. So greatly appreciated, Wolfpack. My man, Mark G, always hooking up your boy here. Ladd, Likely, and Ford. I'm going Ford. I really like Ladd, though. Love the little Ladd. Love getting him into my lineups. But I think Ford, feature back workload. Jacksonville's not the scariest of matchups. You're going to get probably 15 to 20 touches. And if there's any Brown I'd want to play, it's probably Ford today. Really intriguing flex question, though. What does Likely do in his encore performance? Is he actually the guy over Mark Andrews now? Maybe. What does Ladd do after scoring a really nifty touchdown with those jukes? Good matchup against Carolina. The thing with Ladd, as much as I do love him, is if they get up 2 scores early, and especially if those 2 scores just come on the ground anyways, they're going to just pound the rock. Pound. Harbaugh's the type of guy that if he can win and attempt 5 passes, he will. So that's the risk with Ladd. And a week like this, I don't know that I need to take on that risk, right? I'd go with Ford here. Josh, I'm not seeing the question. I'm sure my man Campanelli, if you can find what Josh's question is and type it to me in the private chat. It looks like you super chatted without attaching the question there. So I'll be on the lookout for it. Josh, thank you so much for the support. My man Campanelli will track down the question and send it to me, and we will get to that. But I see that you super chatted. I cannot find it stars the super chats. It doesn't star the question that followed up if you didn't include it with your super chat. So we will get that to you in 1 second, Josh. I promise. We will not move on until we find it. But we'll mow through the rest of these super chats real quick. Flex Najee, McLaurin, or Jaden Reed for Steven Youngberg. I am going to go – I like Najee here. Jaden Reed, as we've mentioned, I'll say the stat again for – now we got 850. I'd love to see it. Maybe that 1K and 2 back-to-back weeks would be awesome, Wolfpack, to continue to boost up this crowd here. But I've said it again, and for anybody new joining, Malik Willis has never thrown for 100 yards in an NFL start. I think it's 4 games now. It's abysmal. It's a terrible thing to be a part of. Jaden Reed is, if anybody could overcome it, the dink dunk rip through a defense, so electric. But when you have good options, I'm going to bench him. And you have good options here. I like Najee the most here, facing a Denver team that can just get steamrolled on the ground. This guy out-touched Warren 22-4 last week. It seems like Arthur Smith loves him. He's that quintessential Arthur Smith, big back, ugly, pound you into submission type of guy. I like Najee a lot this week. So I'm going to go with the sure touches there, Steven. And then Josh, I don't know if this was double super chats. Thank you so much. You didn't have to do that. I don't know if you have 2 separate questions. So we'll be on the lookout if there's another one there. You certainly can jump the line with a second one if you'd like to, Josh, with back-to-back super chats. Thank you so much. So generous of you. We really appreciate it. Worthy, Dobbins, or Shaheed. point per 10-plus punt return, kick return yards. Ooh, I don't think Shaheed's returning kicks anymore, is he? I think they ended up taking him off that because he's so integral to the offense. So this is a great one. This is like 3 of my favorite plays. I think Shaheed is the distant third, though. To me, it comes down to Worthy versus Dobbins, and I'm just such a Worthy truther. I think they are clear, especially now with Marquise Brown done for the year. Let's keep getting this guy more and more and more elevated. The fact that he took – a lot of people saying, he only had 4 touches. Oh, the fact that he scored 20 points on just 4 touches tells you just everything you need to know. It was a broken play? Well, that's how it goes when you face the Chiefs. Lots of broken plays because of just how deadly they are to defend. I love Dobbins today. I really do. There's so much to love about him. The tripling up the yards per carry, so much more efficient. If the hot hand approach truly holds what they said they were going to do, he should be getting far more of the work against a Carolina team that is abysmal. The most points to running backs last year. This last week, Alvin Kamara just destroyed them. I love Dobbins today. I really, really do, but I just am so high on Worthy that I'm playing Worthy. Dobbins is a very close second, though. Dobbins is safer, too. If you want to just take guaranteed points with a ceiling, it is Dobbins, but I just think Worthy's probably going to go bananas again. They gave the bulletin board material, too, saying, little boy, you just got to get your hands on him, and he's going to do nothing. Said Cincy, all right, here comes Pat Mahomes dialing up a deep shot for your boy Worthy. I think it's just going to be week in and week out delights. So I'm going Worthy here, but I want to emphasize, I really, really, really like Dobbins. And it looks like Supper Kelly sent a super sticker. Thank you so much. Don't know exactly what that means. I don't know if there's a question attached to it, but we will be on the lookout for that. So we will check for that. I don't know what exactly, again, that means. But Josh, thanks again for the double super chats. It is so greatly appreciated. I don't know if Campanella, you saw another question from Josh. I see. Nope. Campanella. So I'm guessing this is your only question, Josh. But if you had another one, you did super chats twice. So I'd be happy to be on the lookout for that. We did get one more super chat in the meantime. They'll be back to the regular schedule programming. Rice or Mason? Oh, Prodigy. You must have an absolutely stacked roster to be asking this one. Because I love both these guys. I mean, you're asking about a top 10 receiver, and for me, though, a top 5 running back is Jordan Mason. Now I'm going to go Jordan Mason here. Again, every single running back touch for the 49ers in CMC's absence. I am a diehard fan of that run blocking scheme. I don't think Minnesota's overly a threatening matchup here. I love Jordan Mason today. And I love Rashee Rice. I mean, playing the Amon-Ra St. Brown, dink and dunk role is a beautiful thing. If it's full PPR, this bar gets a little closer. I'm not going to lie. But if it's half, even in full, I'd probably go Mason. But I will admit, this becomes a true coin flip in full PPR. In half or standard, though, for me, it's Mason. So I go Mason here. Josh, you didn't have to, and thank you, Supper Kelly, just appreciation. I appreciate you appreciating, brother. Much appreciated. Thank you so much, Supper. And Josh, again, the third super chat. You didn't need to. If you have another question, just put it in there. We'll track it because you've already sent us 3 super chats, and we've only answered 2 for you because one of them didn't attach the question. You're so generous, though. We really, really appreciate you, Josh. Thank you so much. Tank Dell for Shaheed. I would definitely take Tank Dell for Shaheed. Yes. I thought that was a great game for Shaheed, but I'm looking at, do I want a weapon attached to CJ Stroud or Derek Carr? I'm 100% going Tank Dell in that situation, and I'm 100% going CJ Stroud because even as the third receiver, there's going to be some huge games. But if something happens to either of the guys in front of him, you're talking about a top 10 receiver every single week. Shaheed is more so just it was awesome. Loved what I saw. I think he's going to be a nice fit in this offense. But I think for 2 guys that are somewhat boom bust profiles, I think we can bank on a lot more booms coming from Tank Dell and CJ Stroud than we can Derek Carr. They're not facing the Panthers every single week, I do like Shaheed too. I don't mean to downplay him, but yeah, I would go Tank Dell 10 out of 10 times in this one. And thank you, Josh. Really, really appreciate it. You're awesome. You're so greatly appreciated. Lots of super chats, guys. Thank you so much. We really, really appreciate it. It means so much to us. It makes these Sunday mornings. I love doing it, of course, but it's just that much better when you guys are willing to continue to do it. It looks like one more came in. As I was about to get back to the questions, you guys continue to show your generosity. So I greatly appreciate it. It's from Tyrod Taylor, friend of the show, the quarterback over there playing for the Jets and tuning in before he gets into the locker room. No, what's up, Tyrod? Flowers or Brown? So this again, and a lot of people might have joined since we gave our kind of AJ Brown spiel. To me, if you have a decent enough option, don't deal with the headache, because it's not only just like you have to wait it out and then you might have to like toss Dotson or Mooney or God forbid Ray McLeod into your lineup. That's never fun. But also, like, AJ Brown plays, you're excited, and then flares up, and he's off the sideline. You have a 0.0, and all you needed was 4 points, and AJ Brown didn't get it for you. Like, there's also it's AJ Brown, he's fine. It was as much ado about nothing, and he has 25 points. I get that too. Nobody loves AJ Brown like as much as I've had this guy year in and year out. I have him in plenty of leagues this year. I think he's awesome. In the leagues where I have even like a Jameson Williams, a good enough option, I'm going to bench him. And Zay Flowers to me is an option it's good enough, I think. It's right around the line. Olave, Pittman, I probably would rather play AJ Brown. And if I have a backup plan, I think Flowers, though, I mean, we saw that. Like the layup looks, the 35% target share. Like, I'm just waiting to see that deep game get unlocked, because he averaged nearly 16 yards a catch in college at BC. He's got a deep game. He's got speed. He can burn. He can track the ball well. I don't know that you're going to need that against the Raiders anyways, but I still think a few dink and dunk looks could go a long way here, and it just saves you the headache. Again, this is such a tough situation. Like, if AJ Brown just is healthy, plays and goes for 25, you can come back and say, Wolf, you were a bitch. Okay, I'll take it. But like when I have a good enough option, unless I'm a heavy underdog and I really need AJ Brown type of, like, I'm in a league right now where I had Josh Allen get me 9 points, and now I'm like a 27% chance to win, because I also had CMC go to the IR. Thanks, Christian. But in that league, like, I'd probably wait it out for AJ Brown, because I need that immense boost. And if I'm probably not going to win anyways. But if somebody's going to dig me out of the grave, it's much more likely to be AJ Brown. But this is one where I'd probably just take my 12 points with Zay Flowers type of situation. It's a tough situation, though, Tyler. I really appreciate it. Those are the type of questions, though. It's almost like a gut thing. Like, I know that's not what you want to hear, especially when you're supporting it. Like, go with your gut. I do go Zay Flowers myself if I'm making that choice, but it is a tough choice indeed. And I do believe that cleans up all these super chats. So we are going to get right back into the regular scheduled mailbag here, where we left off with Isaiah. Thank you again, guys. So generous with those super chats. If anybody else out there wants to toss one in to cut the line, it always goes such a long way. But a freeway with 900 of you here is that thumbs up button. It can get us out to more people and is so greatly appreciated. So thank you again for that. So we left off with Zach or Drake London. I'm going Charbonnet. Like I said, I know this is the spot for a Drake London rebound against a really bad NC Firearm super chat. So we're going to get to that in just a second. Always coming in with your support for the boy. So greatly appreciated. But as I said with Drake London, he should do it. This is the matchup of all matchups. The Eagle secondary is abysmal. I thought Kirk Cousins looked horrendous. I don't know that Drake London is the guy that everyone thinks he is. I have some severe questions on that right now. And so I'll go with the 20 touches I'm going to get from Zach Charbonnet, is I imagine who you're asking right now, Isaiah. Like we said earlier in the show, but for people just jumping in right now, ultimately Charbonnet had, I'm pulling it up again in my notes here, 12.9, 9.8, and 16.9 points in his 3 starts last year. They came in tough matchups, and he still did okay. Ultimately, Ryan Grubb said, I see a lot of the same skill sets, game plan as usual. This game plan last time included 33 runs to 25 passes. So I'm going Zach Charbonnet. Big fan of him. Alrighty, NC Firearms, thank you again. All you guys being so generous with your super chats. It's so greatly appreciated. McLaurin saying right now, I see Joey Porter probably shadowing Sutton. Swift, I've never been a Swift guy. Houston's not a horrible matchup for him, but I like that he played 70% of the snaps. I'm going to go back to McLaurin and hope for the rebound. He was just a misconnection away from a really big touchdown last week. I'm not going to lie, though. I hate the usage here from Cliff Kingsbury. Almost 90% of the snaps static out wide left, how Cliff Kingsbury always used his X. Like, not why can't we motion him around? Why can't we get him in advantageous situations? I don't know. He should. But I'm going to go rebound McLaurin. I liked what I saw out of Daniels, not necessarily as a passer, but as an overall offense. And you got the Giants, who McLaurin is a historic killer of. So, yeah, I'm going to go Terry in that one, NC Firearms. Thank you so much for the Super Chat. Papa Sarno, great to see you, bro. Thank you again. Back-to-back weeks with a nice, generous Super Chat. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it, my man. I have A.J. Brown. Do I start Harrison or Kirk or wait it out and start Dotson if needed? I think you got to play Harrison here. I know it was risky. I know we didn't see anything that we should trust last week. I think they're going to make it a point of emphasis to get him the rock here, though. And so, again, my A.J. Brown summary is if I have a good enough option, I don't want to wait it out. Because not only is it risk that he doesn't play and then now you're starting Dotson, which you have, but it also is he plays, you put him in there, it flares up, he's out. That has happened so many times. And I don't know, unless we get reports that this was nothing, he's 100% over the course of the day, because you'll have till 4 o'clock with Harrison. If we get a report like that, then yeah, sure. Okay. We fire up A.J. Brown. But I think Harrison is certainly a good enough option to go with over taking on that risk of both whether he plays or not, but also what happens in the game during that time. Thank you again so much for all these generous Super Chats, guys. It is so greatly, greatly appreciated. We are approaching the 30-minute warning here. Thank you, Campanelli, for letting me know that's where we have left off. So in about 10 minutes, I am going to go into rapid fire mode, guys, where I try to mow through every single thing in this mailbag. And it's a beefy one. I love to see it. I do try to get to every single question I possibly can, though. So we will go rapid fire shortly. You want to toss in a super chat, we'd be happy to take our time and pause that rapid fire. We got about 10 more minutes till I'm going to go into rapid fire mode for this juicy mailbag. Thank you again, guys, so much for your support, for being here on this Sunday morning. One more plea for that thumbs up, maybe that last one, but we're at 927. Let's get to 1K yet again, and any new names. So many new ones out there. Please help us on that mission to 4K. If I'm helping you at all, if you're enjoying this content that we'd like to do for free, the least you could do potentially for us, we'd greatly appreciate you hit that subscribe button over on YouTube. Help bump us over 4K. It's just a meaningful milestone. Every 1,000. It's a tough grind out there on YouTube. So all you guys on Twitter, all you guys here new with us on YouTube as well, if you can take that 2 seconds to bump on over the channel, hit the subscribe button, it would be so greatly appreciated. Thank you again for being here. Flex, Madison, Spears, Lockett, thanks, full PPR. I would go here. Oh, man, I don't love any of these, Toby. I think I'm going to go Spears, though. I know Tony Pollard dominated the rushing workload. Definitely my preferred guy in that backfield, but Spears got a ton of receiving work, and we just saw what Mason did. I think this Jets defense is very vulnerable against the run. So I'm going to go Spears there. Whereas the other ones, I'm never going to say Madison. I'm just not a Madison guy. And then Lockett looked good. Maybe the wide receiver won again. Old man Lockett just doing old man Lockett things. But I'd rather go for the exciting young running back here. Dobbins or Charbonnet, Jacob Coles. Much as I hyped up Charbonnet, the workload that's coming to him, it's Dobbins for me. The matchup, the exciting, how he looked so damn good. I'm going to go Dobbins. David Monty or Zach Charb. I'm going to go David Monty there. Ronald Mycos. He's just such a nice high floor. You're almost always going to get a touchdown out of this guy in 15-ish carries behind the best line in football. Let's do it. What's up, Mo? Love to see you. Hope you're having a great Sunday morning here, my guy. Maybe we can fire up a Sunday morning stream together. I already missed recording with you, so would love to figure out a time we could get the mics going again, man. Great to see you. Let me know if you have any questions for the day. Thomas Radke, Worthy Cooper. The repeat of repeats. Already answered that one about 7 times. Maybe looking at timeout for Thomas Radke here. Love to have you guys here. It's worthy. Pickens or Robinson. Yeah, Pickens with a certain coverage, but I'll tell you, Pickens looked incredible in week 1. I've always loved Pickens. I thought he was an awesome player. I know my man Mo over there didn't love him. I know the final counting stats were there, but he had 4 plays of 30-plus yards called back. He could have had a 180-yard day. I love Pickens. I know it's going to be shadow tough coverage, but he's so juicy. And I'm a big Robinson fan, probably safer, but I can't put Pickens on my bench with the upside that guy has. Josh Downs or Chase Brown? I can't do Josh Downs quite yet. I don't even know if he's active. Even if he is active, though, I can't guarantee that it's a full-time role. Are they even going to want to throw it at all against this secondary that's decent for the Packers, but you can just bleed them out on the ground? Like, has the feeling of a game. It's like, let's get in, let's pound them, let's get out. We're facing Malik Willis here. Let's not take any. Let's let Willis implode and beat himself type of game. Andrews or likely two flex league. Oh man, why'd you do this to yourself? Why did you give yourself this headache every week? If I got to go one or the other, I got to go with the guy that looked more athletic and exciting, and that was Isaiah Likely this last week. But oh man, you just kind of created yourself the headache of headaches. All right, we did get another super chat. Thank you so much, guys. A lot of super chats today, over 14 of them. You guys are so generous. It is so greatly appreciated here on your Sunday mornings. I already had my coffee, but maybe I'll have to go run out and get a few more. Maybe it'll be some wings and beer on the good folks here on the stream here, supporting your boy and his Sunday habits. Okay, it's greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. Doug Fenton asking, full PPR, Mason or Jacobs for running back? Oh, easy Mason to me. Again, Mason's my running back 4 on the week. And just to reiterate it for the good folks out there, every single running back opportunity. I know Debo going to get some backfield work too, but every single running back opportunity went to Jordan Mason. He played 81% of the snaps, 28 carries, 147 yards, and a touchdown. And I think the Jets defense is susceptible to the running game. It certainly was last year. They gave up the 9 most points to backs. But I think it's also a matter of like this line in this zone scheme is just gorgeous. And Mason is a player. He's a baller. He looked great all preseason. He has all the feels of a league winner. Like until McCaffrey's back, I think Mason is set and forget. And I don't worry about it. And Jacobs is good. Mason to me is just a top 5 play this week. He is running back. So I'm playing Mason there. And then Flowers or Worthy. Doug, you're asking about a few of my favorites here. Worthy. I am on the Mason train. I'm on the Worthy train. Choo-choo, let's go. I love both those guys. And you have good options otherwise too. But man, I got to go. You have a great team if you're gonna have Jacobs and Flowers on the bench. But give me Worthy, give me Mason for sure. Fusion V, thank you guys so much. So many generous super chats. Really, really appreciate it, folks. Pick 3 PPR: Terry McLaurin, Xavier Worthy, Drake London, or Ladd McConkey. I gotta go Terry, Xavier, London, Ladd. Oh man, all right. I'm gonna go Xavier, my favorite of this group. I know we gotta bench one of them. I know I've kind of been like, yeah, Drake London. I don't know that I fully want to buy into him this week, but he does get Philly, which is just the joke of all joke secondaries. If he doesn't do it this week, it's like, who the hell is Drake London? But with these other options, Fusion, I'm going to go Worthy. I'm going to go Drake. And then it comes down to Ladd versus Terry. And I'm going to lean Terry. I know it's tough. I don't like to do this because I try to avoid looking at my rankings, but I was like, oh, what do I have these guys at? Terry 33, Ladd 34 in my updated rankings. It couldn't be closer. My worry with Ladd is one, Palmer's playing. If Palmer was out and it was like a full-time role for Ladd, which it probably will be anyways, but it just makes it a little sketchier. But really, it's just that, like, as I've said to a few people on here, if Harbaugh can throw it 5 times and win, he will. And against the Panthers, I don't think he's going to need to throw it more than 10. I think they can just run this ball right down the throat of the Carolina Panthers, and they will. And so, maybe Ladd makes the most of those touches. He does. He's that type of guy. But it might only be 3 to 4 touches. I'm going to give Terry another shot here with Jade Daniels. Now, if I again hate this Cliff Kingsbury usage. Like, why can't you put him in motion? Why can't you use more play action? Why can't we? I'm worried about it. I am. But I think they were a missed touchdown away that should have hit. He was wide open. I'm gonna go back to the well one more time with Terry before I panic. But to me, Worthy's the easiest play here. And then it's Drake, and then it's Terry for me. So I'm benching Ladd. Fusion, thank you so much for the super chat. It is so generous, so greatly appreciated. All righty, guys. That wraps up the super chat portion so far. Again, if you want to cut the line, you want to guarantee your answer, please do consider tossing in there. Like I said, it goes such a long way. It is so greatly appreciated here at Roto Street Journal, keeping the lights on for us. And all these rankings will be updated and released at rotostreetjournal.com is our website. Let's get back into the mailbag. We have about 20 more minutes of being live here. In about 5, I am going into this rapid fire mode. Let's check out what we got, though. We left off with I'm just trying to find my place here. Andrews and Likely, who I start. I think we had one other question. Oh, it was G-Rod. Okay, so Andrew or Likely was where we were. And I think we answered this one. Chase Brown for now. Andrews or Likely. And then so we left off. I go Likely over that, and we're right here with CJ. So Aaron Jones or Montgomery for flex. I go Montgomery myself. Very, very close, though. Love both these guys. I do think Jones has a little bit of a higher ceiling, but that 49ers matchup is a little scary, too. So I'm going to go Montgomery here. And then Mason and Pacheco, I would definitely play those two guys over either of those two running backs. So I think you've got that right. I don't know about Deontay with the AJ unknown. Like, I think Deontay's not the level. Like, I'd rather wait out for AJ and play Dotson. I don't love Deontay. I don't think Deontay is anything. So yeah, I feel a little different. I don't know with Montgomery and Jones though. That is a tough one. I think Jones looks really good. I'm going to go Monty though, just nice and safe in my opinion. But I'm going to play AJ over Deontay. I'm not doing that. Andrews and Likely. I'm going to go Likely, but Josh again. I have him 10 and 11. Like, who knows? We'll find out. Eckler or Ladd? Definitely Ladd for me. The heckler. The heckler. I'm going to go Ladd, though, over the heckler myself. Zach Charbonnet or Monty? I'm going Monty there. It's Brendan. Definitely in that case. Dobbins or Charb? It's definitely Dobbins for me. As we continue to say, I think they're going to dominate the Chargers. I think they're going to dominate the Panthers on the ground today. Charles Dedoux. Standard flex. Marvin Harrison or Jerome Ford. I'm going to go Ford there in standard. Better bet for a touchdown, which is what you're kind of banking on there. Start Ayuk. I don't know what that one's for, but yeah, I'm playing Ayuk for sure. Flex Harrison Jr. or JK. I'm going to go Dobbins there. Supper Kelly. Greatly appreciate it. You already super chatted. You did have some questions. I would have jumped to these for you after your super sticker that you sent us. Thank you so much. But I'm going to go JK Dobbins for sure. Robert Christensen. Need one full PPR. Chase Brown, Bucky Irving, Dons, or Wandale. I know I've already kind of like disparaged Wandale, but in a full PPR, you might just get what you need to there. I just don't know if Josh Downs is going to play and how much they're going to use him if he does. It feels risky. Probably the best talent of these. Bucky against the toughest run D in the league as RB2. Probably not as much. I love stashing him. To me, it comes down to Brown versus Wandale. And I think I might just get the dink and dunk game of Wandale. 11 targets last week. Standard wide receiver, Keenan Allen, Lazard. I probably just go Lazard because I don't think Allen's going to play. And if he plays, it's going to be in a very, very limited role, according to them. So I'm going to go them. And yeah, thank you, Kelly, answering some questions. I appreciate that, Supper Kel. No doubt. I heard you not like Adams this week. Adams or Keenan Allen. No, I like Adams fine, Joel. It was like Adams versus, like Diggs. I like Diggs a little more, but I like Adams. I like him a lot more than any of those guys, Keenan, Robinson, or Mitchell. Yeah, I'm going Adams 100 times out of 100 there for sure. I'm just bumping down Keenan to like I just don't think he's going to play. And yeah, bump up. I'm going to bump down Rome as well, just a little bit. I like Jalen McMillan, so I'm bumping him up too. All righty. But no, I like Devontae Adams, and I'm definitely playing him over any of those guys, Joel. Stevenson or Charbonnet, full PPR. That's a good one. I think I'm going Stevenson, though. I've gotten this one, the matchup of these two running backs. Just loved what I saw from Stevenson. 12 missed forced tackles, most in the league by a mile, like all but 5 yards after contact, looking like a beast. Fed 80% of the snaps, like true workhorse stuff that we don't in a non-workhorse league. That's what we do. So yeah, I go Stevenson there. As much as I like Charbonnet and the potential work that he's going to get, I'm going to go Stevenson for sure. Alrighty, guys. It is 9:45, so it is time for the rapid fire segment. We're going to get to as many questions as we can in the next 15 minutes. I'm going to set a 15-minute timer here. Hopefully we get through them all. If you want to jump the line, though, guarantee an answer. Super Chat is the only way to do that at this point. So set 15-minute timer on Google, and we are going to rapid fire this thing up. All righty, 15-minute timer starts now. Almost 1,082. One last plea, guys. If you're enjoying what you're hearing, please do consider that thumbs up button. It really does go such a long way for us and means the world. So thank you again. Let's push us over the 1,000 for 2 weeks in a row. It would be so awesome to do. And please do consider subscribing to the channel as we get this rapid fire queued up. Would love to have a lot of new names here. Would love to have you guys steadily coming each and every stream we have. Please do consider that subscribe button. All righty, 15 minutes, start now. Burrow or Goff? I am definitely going Goff. 10 out of 10 times. Destroys Todd Bowles' defenses, averaging 380 yards in 4 games against them. 500-yard day included. We're at 1,000, baby. Let's go. Stevenson all day, as Supper says. I agree for sure in that one. Madison, Spears, Lockett. I'm going Spears there, Toby. I think you asked that one already. Go Colts. They're going to be a great defense, by the way. One of my favorite D streams today. Supper Kelly asking PPR tight end, Trey, Goddard, or Likely. I am going to go Trey McBride there myself and see how this Ravens situation pans out. I would go Burrow. No, you got to go. You got to go for Goff there. And do I think Likely's going to do it again? He could. He's very athletic. He might have taken this job over. It's a very valuable tight end role. I think it's going to be more so a headache, though, back and forth each and week. They trade blows, him and Andrews. Full PPR for my guy, Fatty Mateo. Awesome to see you. Not awesome to see that you're down big, though. You need upside. Dak versus Daniels. It's Daniels for the upside. They're both great upside plays, though. Either one could blow up. Dak's awesome against man coverage, and nobody runs man coverage more than the Saints. It's a good matchup, good schematics for Dak, but to me, Daniels is the upside play here. For flex, McLaurin, DeMarcus Shaheed. If you need the upside, I think you got to just stack Daniels with McLaurin, hope for the best. Might not work out. Maybe you never do it again, but I do think McLaurin is the upside play. Supper Kelly says it's Robinson, and I like Robinson, but I think he's more actually the floor play today. Nice and safe, but I don't know about – he could get the long bomb touchdown, but I'd rather have McLaurin myself and stack my two boys. Flex, Jacobs or Stevenson. I'm going to go Stevenson over Jacobs. JMO or Tay Adams. I'm going to go Devontae there, but very, very close. Giuseppe Russo. Ford or Jacobs. I'm going to go Jacobs over Ford myself. Eric Buckman. Like, share, and sub, people. Arshay is the best in the biz. Thank you, Giuseppe. Greatly appreciate it. And indeed, please do like, sub, and share. It's so greatly appreciated. I see, Supper, you're answering questions, so I'm not going to pull up every comment, but thank you so much. It's really appreciated. Pick 3 PPR. Terry, Worthy. Oh, Fusion, you super chat this, and I said Worthy, London, and Terry for those. Is how I would go. Thank you, Kristen, for your appreciation. Much love seeing you every week here. You're the best. You guys are awesome. The regulars here. Start Ford or Charbonnet. Also start Brandon Cooks or Dortch. So I'm going to go Charbonnet over Ford, and then I'm going to go again. Like, this is where I'd probably just play A.J. Brown and pick up Dotson and have a backup plan. These aren't good enough options, but if you did want to go to one of these 3, I would say Brandon Cooks over the other ones, but I would probably wait it out for AJ and find my backup plan. White or London. I'm going to go Rashad White for now, especially in full PPR. How do you feel about experts saying sell high on Diggs, and if so, for who? I mean, I get the whole 15 air yards versus 100 air yards for the other 2 guys. 2 touchdowns, is that sustainable? I don't know. Maybe they designed that look for Diggs. A lot of rumblings out of Houston where he's going to be the move the chains go-to guy. I don't think it's a must sell high by any means. So I'm not fully in the boat of selling him right now. You'd have to get a really nice value. We have a trade value chart and rest of season big board, Coach Zeke, to help you figure out what to trade him for at rotostreetjournal.com. McMillan or Josh Downs. I would definitely go McMillions, baby. Love me some Josh McMillan this week. Pick 3, no tight end premium. Ayuk, Laporta, McBride, Amari, London, Dell, Worthy. I'm going Ayuk, Dell, and Worthy, baby. Fire off the missiles, fire off the grenades, especially if there's no tight end premium, Cesar. Have PPR. Risk starting A.J. Brown or start Najee. I'd go oh, man, you got plenty of good options here, so I would not risk A.J. Brown. To me, I'm going to go Tank Dell, fire off the missile tonight, Sarah. But I do love Najee. If you want the safest play there, it's Najee. Coach Zeke, also start 1 full picks. Dobbs, no, not with Malik Willis. Rico, Eckler, Downs, Madison, or Tyler Johnson, or pick up Yoshi. Struggling here. You are struggling, Coach Zeke. This is bad. I would probably go Tyler Johnson, just hope that it is the next Puka Nacua type role. I don't think it will be. I think Robinson's the better play. But of these other options, yeah, I think Tyler Johnson's the most to get excited about. You want to be excited on your Sundays. Need 2 flex, half PPR. Lazard, Pollard, Shaheed, Charbonnet, Eckler. Definitely Charbonnet and definitely Pollard for me, Richard B. Pretty easy one there. Then you're welcome. Thank you for using your kind manners. I have Moshe and Wright. How would you play it? I mean, you don't have to play either of them right now, Tunes. You just roster them. And I think you keep them and see what happens. You don't have to necessarily roster both, but I don't know what you're necessarily asking here either. There's a better stash than Wright. Go for it. Drop him. But I love having Wright on my team. Would you play Josh Jacobs or Harrison Jr.? I play Josh Jacobs, Polish takeaway. Just much more guaranteed volume. Thank you, Stephen Drakes. Again, those 2 super chats, so generous, so greatly appreciated, brother. Always showing up and always supporting your boy. It's greatly appreciated. Rashad White or Josh Jacobs is my running back free. In full PPR, I do lean Rashad White, such an elite receiving back. I think Jacobs is going to get fed, but I do have questions as to if that offense will even score a touchdown with Malik Willis. Have an offer. Lamar there offering me Kupp. I have Murray. Oh, yeah. I would take Kupp for Lamar all day of the week. Like, Kupp is my 3rd ranked overall player the rest of the season right now. Maybe even like number 2 after the Tyreek injury, or rather the 2 injury for Tyreek. Yes, take Kupp for Lamar. Get Kupp. Absolutely. At the flex for a PPR, would you start Jamo or Charbonnet? Oh, man. It's like the classic floor versus ceiling. I lean Jamo for the ceiling. I'm always a ceiling chaser. But I do think Charbonnet is a lot safer. If you're just like you're the favorite, you want some sure like 12 points, go Charbonnet. But otherwise, I'm going for the grenade of Jamo. Matthew Noto. And we do have a super chat, so I'm going to jump on over to that. Right now, it's Brendan cutting the line. Thank you so much. Again, the 16th super chat day. You guys are so generous. And then we'll get back to you, Noto. Zach Charb, Deontay, or Hopkins for A.J. Brown, down 30. This is a tough one because it's like you're down 30. I think I just waited out for A.J. Brown. Like, you're not getting dug out of the ship by Deontay or Hopkins today. Charb is the next closest, and in most cases, if it was an even matchup, I'd probably say just play Charb, don't worry about it. But when you're looking here, and you just need to dig yourself out of a massive, massive hole, Charb's going to get you 12, maybe 15. If he scores twice, he's great. So maybe you play Charb and get the safety there, but if I'm down this much, I'm just rolling the dice and hoping A.J. Brown's fine. It's much ado about nothing, and I can just get my grenade in there. I think with that context, I'm going to go A.J. Brown. In most of those cases, I would likely go with Charbonnet, though, because I do think if you have a good enough option, you bench A.J. Brown. But if you're down by 30 and you need the grenade, that's where I'm going. It's Brendan. Thank you so much for the super chat. We left off on Matthew Notu. It looks like we got another one. I'll answer this one for you, Notu. Chuba or Bucky, you got to go with the volume of Chuba. Plug your nose, and it's disgusting, and that's what you got to go with. Fantasy Football 101, thank you so much for your super chat. Start Burrow or Daniel Jones. Is that how far we have fallen? Maybe. I am worried about Burrow. That all being said, and you got the great matchup for Daniel Jones. If you're never going to play him, if you don't play him this week, you're never going to play him, right? But I still is like Burrow is the Chiefs killer, and I would just rather bank on that game being a great one rather than the slot fest that you're going to likely get between Daniel Jones and the Commanders. You couldn't ask for a better matchup for Jones, and he yet just looked so atrocious, so damn atrocious. I cannot bench Joe Burrow for him in good faith. Fantasy Football 101. So yeah, I'm going to go Joe Burrow there. I get the upside. I get the ceiling of Daniel Jones against the Commanders. That is just it's only matchup-based, talent-based. You wouldn't even think twice about this one. And so I'm going to lean into the fact that maybe that Chiefs game shoots out a little bit. Maybe Burrow has his like routine big game against him. So yeah, that's where I'm going to lean. Alrighty, Notu. We are on to your next question. And then another full PPR. Pick 2, Pollard, Moss, and Jamo. I'm leaning Pollard and Jamo. Yep, I am too. I think it's definitely the safer play. Goff or Burrow for Sebastian. I am definitely going Goff myself. Just destroys that team. I am making sure to bump Goff actually in my rankings ahead of Baker. Feel better about him at home. Charbonnet or Nico Collins. Anybody help, please? I'm going Nico Collins for sure. He's just like a must start to me at this point. Should I risk A.J. Brown in? Option B is BTJ. Angel, I think I'm just going to go BTJ. Like, that's kind of where I draw the line. I think BTJ is that good, right? Charbonnet or Ramondre, I'm stressing on this one, says John. I would go Ramondre, but I see why you're stressing. A lot of good volume coming for Charbonnet, but I'm going to go there. Where's Williams in your rest of season rankings? Ash, why don't you go to roastreetjournal.com and find out. He's up there high, though. I bumped him up big time, Ash, for there. Oh, Mike Williams. I don't know. I thought you were talking about Jameson Williams. I don't know about Mike Williams. I actually don't know if he's in my top 150 right now. Worried about Alan Lazard looking so good. Worried about him only playing 4% of the snaps right now. Would you trade DK for DJ Moore? I think I would, Eduardo. But it's kind of like swapping pretty near equals for me. So I don't know. Yeah, shake up the locker room for no reason. I don't know. Charbonnet or Z Moss or JMO. I'm going to go JMO for the upside, Charbonnet for the floor. But most cases, I am going to light up Jameson Williams in that case. Brandon Cooks, Pollard, or Jaden Reed for Ken F. I am definitely going Pollard. Looked great in the matchup against the Jets. Scary for receivers, but great for running backs. Christian Kirk, Palmer, or Gus Edwards at flex. I am going to go Christian Kirk, I guess. Who's your Survivor League pick? I don't do Survivor Leagues, Angel, so I don't want to mess this up for you, but I got to go Ravens as like who I think is the lock to win this week. I have a big trade. I have Chase trying to decide, do I take Mahomes and Gibbs or Jackson and Achane? I like the Jackson and Achane side of that. Ridley or McConkey. I'm going to go McConkey today with that Jets matchup. Your thoughts on Burrow Yoshevich? Your thoughts? I am worried about Burrow. I think Yoshevich, ran the most routes of the team, saw a decent target share. I don't love him in my lineup if I don't have to, but can you stream him? Yeah, you could if you're desperate. I do think your Burrow's history against the Chiefs is solid enough. That's like, if you have to, you can definitely play him. But he's my quarterback 15, so I do have 14 guys ahead of him, Robert. So in most cases, I'm probably benching Burrow. But we got a question earlier, like, Burrow versus Daniel Jones. Okay, I'm going to go Burrow there. But yeah, I don't love it, but I could see that game having a real fun one too. Brandon Cooks, Chase Brown, or Keenan Allen if healthy. I am going to go Brandon Cooks. It doesn't seem like Jake that Keenan Allen's healthy, and I don't know that he's worth risking it for. Michael Lopez, a big trade. Oh, yeah, I already asked that one a couple times. Timeout looming for you. DK, Amari, or JMO? I'm going JMO. I am. Thank you, Fusion, again, for your super chat. We greatly appreciate it. Laggy, we good now? All right, sorry, I don't know. I'm glad it's good now, J-Dog. Hayden Hurst or Juwan Johnson? Oh, Kevin B, we are rolling in the weeds, but I go Juwan. A proven touchdown score. You're going for touchdown or bust in that case, and I just don't think the Panthers are going to need to throw. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, help blast RSJ24K and beyond. Indeed, thank you, Campanelli, for doing the promo. Good work for us. Herbert or Stafford? Again, Angel, I just don't think Herbert's going to need to throw today. I'm going Stafford. I think that game shoots out. I much prefer sticking with that. I have a big trade. All right, Michael, no more. Timeout time. First one of the year for Michael. But you can't keep peppering your question in there. It's just annoying. Gino or Rodgers? I'm going to go neither. Don't love either one this week. Gun to my head, I had to pick one. I'd probably go Rodgers. I don't know. I think Gino, though, he could rebound, but it's too bad matchups for both these guys. And Gino's a little more exciting with the Konami upside, so maybe he runs one in. I'll go with Gino. They talked about wanting to run him more, and he did the other week. Derrick Henry or Marv? I'm going to go Derrick Henry, no doubt, Tyler Bear. This is a Henry game if I've ever seen one. Averages nearly 10 points more in wins than losses, and they should pound this team. Harrison Jr. or Singletary? I think I'd go Harrison Jr. in that case there, Johnny. Bench one, full PPR. Jacobs, Robinson Jr., Connor, or Charbonnet. You got some great options here, Steve. I think I'm benching Charbonnet. I just like all the other running backs just a little bit more. Rashee Rice or H. Harris? I don't even know who H. Harris is for the flex, but I am going to go Rashee Rice. I think you probably meant Marvin Harrison maybe, Steven, but I'm going Rashee Rice over him 10 out of 10 times. Z. White or MHJ? Definitely MHJ there. No interest in Zamir White at all. I thought I banned this one, so let me make sure Michael Lopez gets into timeout here. Tyler asking, full PPR QB. Tyler, Anthony Richardson or Daniels, then flex Derrick Henry or Marv. Definitely Derrick Henry. I know full PPR, not the best of PPR guys, but this is the Derrick Henry type of week. Again, averages nearly 25 points per game in wins versus like 10 points per game in losses. It's a huge difference, and they should just destroy them. And then for the QB, I'm going to go Richardson. You play him when he's healthy, and he's healthy. So I'm going to go Richardson today. I think he can run it right down their throat. So I like Richardson over Daniels. Very similar molds, but I think I go with Richardson. Keenan Allen was, I guess, Lazard. I'm not playing Keenan Allen because he's probably not going to play, and if he plays, he's going to be on a snap count. Ford, Swift, or Anderson flex. Likely he's in the tight end spot already. Yeah, you got to go with Ford there. E. Elliott or D. Swift? I'm going Elliott. I just don't like Swift at all, and I'm higher than most on Elliott. Traded Pacheco and Jacobs for CMC, Montgomery, and Mason. No, I think you won there to get the 49ers backfield and Montgomery. I think you cleaned up, Justin. Would I start Ford or Harris? I like Harris. I'm a big fan of Najee Harris myself. All righty, guys. That is the timer. Thank you again so much. We almost made it through it all. We had about 10 questions left. I greatly appreciate it, but it is time for me to go get my own lineup set. On your way out, if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up button, it would so be greatly appreciated. You know what? We only have like 5 more in there. I'm just going to mow through it for you guys real quick because we only have like 6 more questions. So, you know what? Was this light here? If it was like 30 more questions, I'd stop. But we got you guys. You know what? So hit us a thumbs up. Do your boy a solid here. And like this, subscribe to it as we do a couple solids. You guys are the best. All right. At this moment, you play. I definitely play Debo. And I know Devonta could be the clear number 1, but I love the matchup. Too high coverage for Debo. Where's the bald one? The pick'ems. We do the solo show for whatever reason. It bumps it out more to people when I do it solo. I don't know why, Giuseppe, but we're just following the trends and usage. Message him that he's got to get them up on Instagram, though. You probably have his phone number. Just text him and say, like, we need some pick'ems on the Instagram. I'll text him, too, after this. Burrow or Baker. I'm definitely going Baker today. Jay, pick 2 to start. Jacobs, Etienne, Charbonnet. I'm going to bench Etienne there myself. Do you start A.J. Brown or do you trust either McLaurin? I go J-Mo in that one, J Stacks myself. Jacobs, Etienne, Charbonnet. I'm benching Etienne. Stop repeating your question, please. Risk it with A.J. Brown or sub him with Amari? I'd sub him with them. I'd probably risk it, actually, and pick up Dotson. Richardson or Burrow? I'm definitely going Richardson there. Jaden Reed or Javonte? I don't love either of those. I'd probably go Jaden Reed, though. Back for week 2. Hey, glad to see you, Michael. Love the content last week. Hey, I'm glad to have you back, brother. That's what we're going for. Got an offer, full PPR. Puka, B-Rob I can't do a trade right now, Angel. Sorry. 4 TDs, Goff, Stafford, Herbert or Baker. I'm going to go Goff. Love them all, though. Love Stafford and Baker, too, this week, but I'm going to go Goff. Last one, Demont over Ramondre. Yeah, very hesitantly, though. Cooks over Lazard. And I didn't see yours, Lee. Pittman, Rasheed, or Singletary. I'm going Rasheed Rice, not even close. And I'm going Stroud over Daniels. Yeah, I think I'm going there. Appreciate you. Thank you, Jay Stacks. Good luck. I'm going to need it for sure. I'm in a hole this week. And Scary Terry Lockett going Scary Terry. You did good. Thank you, Joel. Thank you guys so much. Awesome show. That is going to wrap up the mailbag. Thank you again so much. So many super chats. So generous of you. Last plea for that thumbs up on your way out to help us continue to boost this thing out. Would love some subs as well as we push towards that 4K number. I know there's some new names. I know not all of you are subbed. We would greatly appreciate you coming on over, hitting that subscribe button, and boosting out the wolf for this week. But until next time, guys, in a world full of fancy sheep, be the wolf. These rankings will be updated at rotostreetjournal.com along with all our other content each and every week. Thank you again so much. Best of luck on Sunday, and we'll see you next time. Later, guys.